doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! 1, 2, 3! Turn that down,
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
What a night it was at Bud Walton Arena yesterday. We got lots of Cowboys fans that are listening and want to celebrate a playoff win, first road playoff win in 30 years. 29 years, I think, is more like it. And, yeah, definitely we'll be getting to that. We had a buzzer beater at the Bud yesterday. What a moment for Michaela Daniels and the women's basketball team. It kind of makes you forget a little bit that they were unable to hold a 9-point lead in that fourth quarter, having some trouble closing games out. And but when you win a game, you win a game. And when you win it with a buzzer beater that makes number one on SportsCenter's top 10 plays, it definitely is the thing people will be talking about, and remember that more than anything else from that basketball game. Good to be with everybody today. Hi, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Sun is brightly shining across Arkansas. It is nice outside. Going to have a little rain coming on later on in the early morning hours. And Matt Jones, Matt Travis back in studio today. How's everything going for you guys?
It's going great over here.
Hey. Great day to have a radio show.
Got that right. Well, does anybody feel bad for Brett Mayer? I'm probably saying his name incorrectly. I didn't get my eyes on the Cowboys game because we had women's basketball last night. And by the time I left Bud Walton Arena, I think he'd already missed his 4 extra points. But at least he'll get a chance maybe to kick some more extra points. Maybe some field goals, I guess, right? Would you even give him the opportunity to do it again next week in San Francisco when the Cowboys have to travel once again? Man, you talk about the yips. Looked like Mayer had the yips yesterday.
You got to keep throwing them out there.
I would imagine you have to.
Yeah.
It looks a lot easier than it is, especially once the point afters have been moved farther back. But 4 of them in the same game? Feel bad even bringing his name up first before even mention that I don't think that's Tom Brady's last game.
He looked old.
He didn't look good. I know that. And it's been an entire season where he hasn't looked like the Tom Brady of old. I guess some of the things he said post-game made it seem that he was, saying goodbye maybe to the Bucs at least, if not the NFL, but did say it's going to be a day-by-day process for him. I don't think he's finished because I don't think he's looking to go out like that. Now, I understand only one team raises the Lombardi Trophy when it's all said and done. So sooner or later, all but one team goes out and all but one quarterback goes out, sometimes on a better performance than Brady put together last night. But I know, Matt, I agree with you, man. I mean, the games that I watched this year with the Bucs involved, it didn't look like the same Tom Brady. And we were all waiting for Father Time to make its to have its intermittent creep on his great skills. The Bucs have been severely injured this year, especially in the offensive line. But he didn't look the same. I'm 46. I just turned 46 last weekend. I'm not exactly the same as I was physically 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe not even like 7 months ago. So, skills erode even when you're able to keep yourself at the tip-top shape that Brady's kept himself at for, I guess, his entire life. I just have a hard time believing that he's going to go out like that, especially with a losing record. So I kind of expect that he'll sign somewhere else.
It's kind of
we all want the answers right now, right? We're not going to get the answers anytime soon.
It's kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still good. He's awesome. He's 38, whatever, but he can play. He just can't play at the top level anymore. You know, Brady's still really good, but when you get him out there, he really digs in. Chad Pennington's the heck out of it, man. And Chad Pennington was awesome. But all he does is throw 12 yards and under. Like he can't move. He can't push the ball downfield. It's hard to watch, and it's because it's like Ronaldo to the agency. It's like you remember him 8 years ago, and you're like, oh my goodness, what have you done with yourself? But he's 46. He's gonna be 46 next year. And I don't know. Oof. If you got a team and you just need a quarterback, then you give him a chance. But there's man, what I saw last night, it was hard to watch. But in Dak Prescott on the other side, he might have had his best game as a Cowboy. I mean, he did not. What I said something at before. I said just don't mess it up. You know what? He didn't. He exceeded. He didn't mess it up and made some plays. Like Dak had a great game, and that defense, Phil, when you run the ball 12 times with your running backs. You know what the defense knows you're going to do? They are just going to put their ears back and come after you and make it hard on you the entire game. You got to throw it quick because you're not running the ball. So it was a bad. That's how stagnant Tampa Bay's looked. That when I've seen them play this year, and they look, and that Dallas defense, Phil, they can win you a Super Bowl. That defense is good enough.
Yeah, but now Dallas has to go up against a good team. You know.
Yeah, right. They're not a team that's 8-9. Yeah.
Right, a team that didn't play in the crappiest division in the NFL, a team that's got a defense that is playing lights-out football. And, I mean, I can't put it in the terms that they're carrying Brock Purdy to, the divisional round of the playoffs because Purdy's been really good. So, I mean, there's no way that Dallas has as easy of a time.
I bet they run the ball more than Tampa does.
I would imagine so, too.
Right.
How about the idea that maybe Brady needs like a week or so to just let his arm hang after throwing 66 times?
Well, he's throwing 7 yards. Look, it's 5.3 yards. He's not throwing. He just tosses. He's not throwing the ball, man. Like he's throwing the ball a little out routes,
just a little flip.
Yeah, they're just those are everyday throws that you do. Like and he's really good at it. Those are easy to know. Don't get me wrong, but it's the pitcher throwing the pickoff move to first base. That's all he keeps throwing is just he's throwing. He's not throwing to home plate. He's not really using his arm. He's just throwing it over there to the side like it's and he's very accurate, and that's why I make the joke. Chad Pennington's a great quarterback, and look, Tom Brady's a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. But when it's just once it gets time, it gets time.
It is difficult sometimes watching players that played at I shouldn't say like such a high level because I think there were moments where Brady I watched a couple of throws that he made. I mean, the touchdown throw to Mike Evans was perfect.
And the Julio Jones throw, yeah, right. Like he made some good throws.
That's the one I meant, Jones. I mean, that was a beautiful throw, and it wasn't a little dink and dunk. So some of the skills are still there, and depending on whatever team he signs with, and again, I don't think it'll be the Bucs. I could see the Dolphins. I could still see the Raiders. I've seen some experts think that the Jets are ready made for him. Boy, would that be crazy though to see. The guy who is the icon of the franchise in New England. Finish his career in New York with the Jets. Of course, Curtis Martin, had those two teams similar too, but that would be nuts. See Brady go.
Would it be?
And Tampa Bay's like a totally different situation than anywhere in the Northeast when it comes to pro football. I mean, New York City is a pro football town.
Yeah, it is.
Jets fans are crazy. They haven't had a quarterback since the guy you're just mentioning, Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
And, Pennington was the guy that would throw it, 7 yards on almost every completion. But this is the overarching story to follow in the NFL outside of the playoffs and outside of the idea that Dallas did look pretty good yesterday. Congratulations, Cowboys fans. You got that first road playoff win. But trying to make it 2 in a row at Levi Stadium.
On a short week.
Close in.
Yeah, they got to go.
That's right.
Go 2 time zones, and do you think Tom Brady, Phil? Do you think it's similar to when Joe Montana left San Fran and went to Kansas City, or not really? Like, would it kind of have that feel? Like, Joe, you knew Joe Montana only had about 3 years left. Do you think Tom Brady has more than 1 year? I don't think he does. That's why I think it's going to be hard for him to get a spot.
I don't know if he was going to have more time left after leaving New England to begin with.
Right.
This is different than the Montana situation. This reminds me much more. Well, I mean, this is a singular deal. Like, I can't remember anybody that's done. First of all, nobody's ever won 7 Super Bowls as a player.
Fair
Let's
enough.
just put that out there, right? That's just never happened before. 8 of them, pardon me. And to win a Super Bowl as a quarterback at the age of, what was it, 43 when he won that one with Tampa Bay?
Yeah, his first year there.
Like Montana took Kansas City to the playoffs once, and that was it. Never got. I think might have made it to a conference championship game, but that was as far. And then he wasn't the same quarterback either. You look at like how Brett Favre finished his career. We're talking about quarterbacks that played and were known for one specific franchise. I know Namath finished his career with it was the Rams that he finished his career with, and not a lot of people remember what he played like there. But like Brett Favre, we still identify him with the Packers, the Jets, the Vikings. The Jets year was a year that everybody would really like to forget for reasons that
they started like 6-0 too that year. Yeah. Well, then the flip phone. I think it was a malfunction that he meant to send it to somebody else. Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
You don't have a delete? I can't delete that message already? God.
Well, on those flip phones, man, I don't know if we even remembered how to delete those things. Send them too, man. Those were weird things to try to figure out. But this is a singular thing, with Tom Brady. Already, I mean, they might as well just waive the 5-year waiting period once he retires. It just would make a lot of sense to do that. But I just have it's like this situation with Nick Smith in a sense. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. You can tell me, you can point out to all the reasons why, Nick has reasons to play for Arkansas, why there are reasons to not play and just get yourself into the draft. I'll believe that he'll play for Arkansas again once I see it. And I feel the same way about Tom Brady retiring. Like, I won't even believe the next retirement tweet that he sends out. I'm going to have to actually see the beginning of the NFL season start and then wait like 8 weeks before, if nobody signs him after a few injuries. Because I think the guy's addicted to football. I think he's addicted to competition. I think he's, still kind of in a way like locked in on being that guy that nobody thought of when he came out of Michigan. Even now, it's like there's always people to prove wrong. Aaron Rodgers has been doing that his entire career. I think Brady still does that to a certain.
He's a
sense.
competitor, no question about it, Phil. And it's hard, man, when they say, man, it's over, you can't play anymore. It's not like soccer, like we talk about these. They can go to a different league and go play for another couple years and make a lot of money. There's only one NFL. You're trying to do this CFL and you're trying to do the new. What are they doing in the spring ball here? But you're not getting veterans to go play that to go play over there in the twilight of their career.
No. Yeah. We do have another spring football league that's starting up. The XFL is back, I think, this spring. USFL is doing it again. But part of the off season guessing on will he or will he not retire or where is he going to go play for Tom Brady. I think it's a heck of a lot more interesting than anything going on in the XFL or the USFL. And on a Tuesday halftime, here's what we've got going on today. Clay Henry joins us for the back 2 hours of the show. Hour number 3 at 1:15. We visit with Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, the co-owner of the top college baseball site. They came out with their top 25 today. They've got the Razorbacks ranked 8th. That is behind a handful of SEC teams. So, as usual, D1 Baseball, which I think gives the best coverage for college baseball, and is actually releasing a brand new subscription series for SEC baseball only. As the right guy to talk to here with exactly 1 month before the start of the college baseball season. Of course, we've got Arkansas basketball tomorrow. Hogs need a bounce back, but taking on a Missouri team that definitely is looking for revenge. And we'll also revisit yesterday's dramatic win, a crazy sequence in the last 10 seconds or so in which Vanderbilt's Marnell Giroud hit her 5th three-pointer of the 4th quarter to tie the game, banking it in. That left the Razorbacks just over 4 seconds, and Michaela Daniels banks in a three at the buzzer to send Bud Walton Arena into pandemonium. But after the break, we are joined by the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, so stay tuned on halftime.
Well, I really don't mind the rain, and the smile can hide all the pain, but you're down when you're riding the train that's taking the long way.
That's it! Arkansas is going to the Sweet 16. Ace for the Elite Eight. Arkansas has won. Arkansas is going to the Elite Eight for the first time since 1995.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
A new year means it's time for new work boots, work shoes, safety shoes, casual shoes, fishing shoes, hiking boots, and cowboy boots. Gelco Outdoors has the largest selection and the best brands ready to make your feet feel happy in the new year. Crappie fishermen, Gelco is stocking up for the spring season. Come check out the gear. 50% off clothing on the clearance rack loaded with New Year savings. Gelco Outdoors, your store for work and the great outdoors. 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Need to lose 100 pounds this year? Don't restrict your diet. Forget joining a gym. Instead, lose the weight of that cheating spouse of yours. At Mock Legal Solutions, there is no hourly billing. You pay one flat fee for your divorce. Call today, 479-769-1505. And let's be honest, it's closer to 200 pounds, right? Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters. Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric has been the most trusted heating and air company in Arkansas for more than 50 years. As the winter weather changes from hot to cold, trust the pros at Pascal to ensure your system is performing at its best. Right now, get a heating tune-up for only $99 per system. Want full protection and member discounts? It's only $1 more per visit. Call today or visit GoPascal.com to schedule online anytime. Professional people, professional service. GoPascal.com.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drug Store has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Lesson 86. This is how you say, gee willikers, it's a hot one. Let's cool down with some Bud Lights. That's it for today. Bud Light, crisp.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Want some whiskey and you wanna sugar in your tea? What's all this crazy question they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't wanna see. Mama told me not to
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Tuesday in the morning, we get to talk with voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, here on Halftime. Chuck, how you doing, man? We had a crazy night last night. What was going on?
Hey, man, you had a great finish. Man, you had a great finish last night. What a, we had just wrapped up Muss's radio show. I mean, literally 15, 30 seconds after it ended, she hit that shot, and, the place was full. And so, I mean, everybody erupted, and it was a lot of fun. I was thinking during the game, while we were doing the show, you got one eye on one game, one eye on Muss, and trying to keep up with everything. I'm going to guess at most sports bars last night, at 5 minutes until 8 o'clock or 2 minutes until 8 o'clock, most televisions were on the Cowboys in Tampa Bay. But I can tell you at Sassy's, most of the TVs were on that basketball game, and when she made that shot, the place erupted. I stopped at the grocery store on the way home, and I had a couple of people ask me about it in the grocery store. So it was one of those kind of moments that I think captures everybody's attention, whether you follow women's basketball closely or not. Just the drama involved in it, the way it unfolded. It was just one of those cool deals, and I'm glad you got to do that and experience that, and I'm sure it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a heck of a lot of fun. The entire game, the first half was quite dull. I mean, nobody could score. Second half, nobody could stop anyone from scoring, which made it, feeling like Maddie was a tale of two halves, to put it in terms that we talk about quite often. But what I took from yesterday also was that Arkansas wasn't really pleased with the way they played, certainly in the first half and then defensively in the second, but they won the ball game, and sometimes you don't play your best. You still got to find a way to win a basketball game, though. That's an issue that the men's team right now is dealing with, amongst other issues, too. It's like you still have to be able to win the game sometimes when you don't play your best.
Yeah, and that's all, that's hard to do, particularly when you're playing against good teams. And, the thing about last night, to be perfectly candid, it's one of those moments that you forget everything that happened before that. All you remember about that game is the shot by Vandy and then Michaela Daniels' three at the horn. I mean, that's what you remember. But you're right. I mean, you do have to find ways to win, and sometimes you do it in fashions like what happened last night. And, the Razorbacks have a tough one tomorrow night, and I'm sure that they take a 1-point win and run for the bus tomorrow night. And it'll be nice if they can get a win up there.
Chuck, what do you think the players, the locker room, what do you think their mindset is right now going into a Missouri team? Because Chuck, Missouri is going to give you their A game. They probably feel like they let one slip away in Bud Walton. What do you think this mindset is of this basketball team right now?
Well, honestly, it's hard for me to know because I'm not in there with them. I would guess, I would hope, frankly, that there's some guys that were embarrassed by what happened on Saturday. I mean, you give up 63 in the second half. I would think that if you're a competitor, you'd be embarrassed. I would think you'd be embarrassed by that. And so I'm sure that's part of their thinking. To me, one of the real issues right now is these guys have got to understand when they go on the road what marked men they are.
Mm-hmm.
This was a team that everybody was talking about going to the Final Four. This is a team with 3 McDonald's All-Americans. This is a team that was pretty much in everybody's top 10. So when you go to somebody else's gym, it's a big game. I mean, it was a big game at LSU. I obviously wasn't there. I was at the Liberty Bowl, but in watching the replay, that was a road environment. I expected Auburn to be like it was. No surprise there. I was surprised. Muss said last night on the radio show, he was really candid. He said, I was surprised at how vocal that crowd was there. And I think they've got to get used to the fact that when they walk in, they're going to be on them. They play a style and, they chirp a little bit and They've got a little swagger to them, and that means every student section in the SEC is going to be on you from the minute you walk out of the tunnel. And it's going to be nonstop. Anthony Black's going to get it like few players in the SEC are going to get it the rest of the way. You got to be prepared for all that. It's what it's going to be like at Mizzou tomorrow night. Now, I've got to believe that the experiences that they've had so far, and I'm telling you, when you give up 63.5 at Vanderbilt, reality slaps you down. And I think that, there's got to be some reality for these kids now, and I've got to believe that they're going to be a little bit better as they go forward. I hope they are, because if they're not, it's going to happen again.
I agree with you, Chuck. I think that we were talking a little, and of course I'm not there either, Chuck, but that we were talking so much about how bad their shooting was that they kind of forgot how to play defense in that second half. And if I was a betting man, that they're going to come out there and play really good defense both halves. And to be honest, Chuck, young players, and when you get going, you get easy baskets by playing better defense, and then you end up scoring 12 more points a game because you got 6 easier baskets, 6 layups on a deflection or a block shot or getting out and running. And that's what we got to get back to that we did in a non-conference game that we're not doing in these conference games.
Yeah, Muss talked about that. Said, we've got to improve on the turnover rate. I mean, we got to force some turnovers. We got to get some buckets off of that. And I look at I went back and watched Kentucky when they beat Tennessee, and when you're not a great shooting team, when you're not a great offensive team, I mean, there's still a formula for winning on the road, but you got to force some turnovers. You got to get some transition baskets. You've got to make your free throws when you get to the line. You got to keep the other team off the offensive glass. You've got to do all these things. And when you're not a great shooting team, you really do have to do all of them. I mean, you can't do 4 out of the 5. You got to do every one of them to try to offset the fact that you're not a great offensive team. And, I think, the fact that Arkansas scored 84, generally that's enough to win. I don't know. And, it turned into a really freewheeling game. And literally it almost seemed like at times Vanderbilt was happy for Arkansas to score or at least shoot just so they could get the ball back. Because, they were scoring every time they went down the floor. So, but yeah, your point on turnovers is right. I mean, you got to do that. And if they win that battle tomorrow night, I bet they win the game.
I bet you're right.
Well, I mean, so it feels to me like we want them to get in on a run in a game. We saw that happen against Missouri. They played a rough first 15 minutes, played great after that. They got on a number of runs.
Mm-hmm.
Defense keyed that. Really, I mean, that's how runs happen, is you score, but you stop the other team from scoring. Chuck, it still feels like this team is talented enough to get on a run of games. They just need to beat somebody. I mean, sometimes it can be that simple. Like, how do you stop a streak? Well, you get a win. How do you get a streak going? You get a win. And then the forward momentum just kind of happens. I think the talent's there to get something like that going.
Well, I think that as we move forward, I mean, Arkansas will have played 4 of their first 6 games on the road by the time tomorrow night's game's done. So, there are going to be more home games. You've had a pretty rough stretch here at the start in terms of the teams you've played. You played some good teams. Now, there's a lot of good teams on the back end of the schedule, and they're all going to be, there's not any gimmies out there for anybody, certainly for Arkansas right now. But I think the opportunity to play at home a little bit more after this game tomorrow night may help them some. I just think it's going to be a grind. I think it's going to be a grind all the way through the end of the season. I just think it's going to be that way. I think, you don't wave a magic wand and make a team a great shooting team. And right now there's just some basic elements of team basketball on both ends of the floor that probably, need to be revisited, and I'm sure they are. But I just think it's going to be a grind with this team. I think they're going to have to display a grit, and, I know that's an encompassing term, but I think they're going to have to display things like that on the road and at home if they're going to win. I don't know that it's always going to be pretty and stylish.
Is it a matter sometimes of like chalking it up to youth on a team? But I've seen people bring this up. But I pointed Alabama. I mean, they have 3 freshmen that get a lot of minutes. That's a young team. They're playing really good basketball right now. I think it's a matter of inconsistency. And sometimes that can be youth. Sometimes that can just be how guys are playing. You know, I'm thinking of, you know, like a Jordan Walsh has been inconsistent on the offensive side recently. Joseph Pinion, you know, the same thing. There's been an inconsistency amongst some of the younger players. Seen it even in Anthony Black with the shot at times. Are we putting that on youth? Do you think that's the reason why?
Well, I think in some of those cases you're asking guys to do a little bit more than maybe you planned on asking them. Yeah. You're asking guys to do a little bit more than maybe they're ready to do in the final analysis. You know, I know people get tired of hearing this, and you know, that's okay. But, you know, with Brazile and Smith out, I'll draw the analogy to the Alabama team you just talked about. If you take Brandon Miller and Clowney off that team, sure. They don't beat LSU by 40. They will have, you know, they would have lost some games by now. So, you know, when you talk about who's going to pick up the slack, I don't know that anybody really came into this season, you know, believing that some of the guys that they're having to count on right now would be the guys they're having to count on. And, you know, that's what's different with those 2 guys out, with Brazile and Smith out. So I know people get tired of hearing about that. And, you know, one of the oldest cliches in sports is, well, you know, injuries are part of the game. Well, yeah, they're part of the game. And when they happen, they can decimate you. And, you know, when you're talking about losing two of 5, I mean, that's 40% of your personnel, number one, and it's probably more than that in terms of your production. So, you know, but again, I know one man's reason's another man's excuse and vice versa. And,
right.
You know, they are where they are.
And there's always a little bit of truth in those cliches, too. That's why we throw them around as
well,
often
sure,
as we do.
yeah. I mean, I understand that.
It's a time to come together. You know, nobody cares about it's a time for the team to look inside and come together and make a name for themselves.
Well, that's a very good point. It sounds, you know, real simple, but I mean, you better be a team right now.
That's
you
right. No pointing the finger at each other.
Page.
That's exactly right.
Because your stars are gone. So, you know, you got to bond with what you got left.
And we got Chuck for another segment. If you want to get on with us, we'll take calls. Text as well at 877-377-6963. Want to remind you about Cheap Sleep Furniture located in Bentonville, Springdale, and Fort Smith. If your mattress is lumpy, caved in, or just plain old, Cheap Sleep is your #1 stop for name brand mattresses. 75% off retail. Pillow top, hybrid, firm, medium, plush, bed in a box, you name it, they've got it. They include living room sets. You can take home a new sofa set or sectional for only $8.99 today. They have the largest same-day selection around. I guarantee you'll find something you love at Cheap Sleep Furniture and Mattresses. Open 7 days a week, Bentonville, Springdale, and Fort Smith, and in Conway as well. Go to cheapsleepnow.com for more information. More halftime with Chuck Barrett after a break.
When you need a plumber, call the name you know and trust. Ashley Air. The same great people that take care of your heating and cooling system can also meet your plumbing needs. Right now, take $50 off any plumbing repair or get a $129 drain cleaning plus a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Restrictions apply. If you have clogged drains, Ashley Air is the one to call. Go to ashley.air.com to schedule your plumbing service. That's ashley.air.com. Proud sponsors of Razorback Athletics.
I am not who you say I am.
I'm a pastor.
I am a caregiver.
I am a father.
I am a friend.
I'm a doctor.
Chances are someone you know and love is struggling with substance use disorder, but recovery is possible. Help starts when we stop stigma, view each other with compassion, and reach out for help. Call 1-800-622-HELP to get started. This message sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and supported by grant number 2018-AR-BX-K085 awarded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
If you're looking for a third-row seated vehicle, Randall Ford's a place to stop by and check out. You know, Dalton, when I was walking the lot a little bit earlier, the Ford Explorers that you have in stock, absolutely beautiful vehicles. They're SUVs, and different trim levels. They'll have cloth, they'll have leather. It's something for everyone.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of Explorers right now, anything from a base XLT to limiteds, and they're all super great cars, and you ought to come by and see them.
You know, if someone's looking for a vehicle that has heated and cooled seats, you've got that as well, and the Ford Explorer fits all those needs. Now, you don't just have Ford Explorers with third row, but you also have some pre-owned vehicles that has the same luxury.
Oh gosh, we've got all kinds of third row vehicles, and we have cheap third row vehicles too. I mean, anything from Fords to Chevys to I mean, you name it, we'll have it.
All they got to do is ask for Dalton?
Yep, ask for Dalton.
There you go. Hey, shop us online and come see us at Randall Ford in Fort Smith.
Fishing never stops. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle has everything from jigs to raincoats, Todd Huckabee crappie rods, Bobby Garland crappie jigs, and stay warm and dry with a River West rain suit, the area's largest selection of Zoom plastics, Flash Mob Jr., Kitech swim baits, Mega Bass rods, plus rattle traps, life jackets, and rod and reel repair. Find all the top brands and everything you need at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
The nationally ranked Razorback gymnastics team, led by head coach and U.S. Olympic gold medalist Jordan Weber, are back in action starting January 13th as they host 5 exciting home meets, including 2 meets inside Bud Walton Arena. Season tickets are on sale now for just $25. Secure your seat to be a part of the fun and excitement by visiting ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
Van Alma Tire Center is always right around the corner from you with all the major brand tires for you to choose from. Bridgestone, Firestone, Cooper, and more. Turn into Van Alma Tire Center for all your tire needs, alignments, oil changes, brakes, and more with service you can depend on. Van Alma Tire Center is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle and tire needs. Right around the corner at 6805 Alma Highway, 5 miles east of Van Buren and 2 miles west of Alma.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed, and it's no big surprise. Don't you think I know exactly where I stand? This world is forcing me to hold your hand. 'Cause I'm just a girl, a little lonely. Well, don't let me out of your sight.
Daniels, trailer, Spencer. Long three, good for Samara Spencer. Way outside.
Yeah, really good time for Samara Spencer's three-point shot to wake up.
Hogs inbound to Spencer. They're shooting to our left. Gives to Barnum. Steps away from the defender. Sets up Chrissy Carr. A wide open three in the corner is good for Chrissy Carr.
Again, that's the one player that Vanderbilt just really doesn't want to help off of and leave her open for a three.
Will be Spencer on the baseline trigger. They do not guard the ball. Finds Barnum in the middle. Back to Spencer in stride. Long pass finds Carr behind the defense. Chrissy with a breakaway layup. And boy, was that a thing of beauty. Vandy with 10.4 seconds inbounds. And here's the game. Into the front court, Giroud. Long three for the tie. She banked it in. 4.3 seconds inbound. Daniels in the front court. Mack for the win. She made it! Off the backboard, the Hogs win. The Razorbacks win. Michaela Daniels from near midcourt hits the buzzer beater. This one belongs to the Razorbacks. 84-81. Oh my goodness.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
There was the bedlam at Bud Walton Arena last night with Michaela Daniels banking in the three-pointer. Chuck, I couldn't help listening to that. Remember your call of Michael Qualls with that buzzer beater put back dunk. That's a different kind of a buzzer beater, though. But man, I mean, you gotta enjoy those when they happen, because it doesn't happen very often.
No, and you'll hear that one replayed again and again and again. Hopefully, you have and look, every broadcaster loves to have that moment, and if it goes in your team's favor, it's going to get played a lot in the future, and maybe you'll have more moments like that. That was a great moment for Michaela Daniels. I mean, forget the team win, forget what everybody did, how everyone's reacting. I mean, when she's 50 years old, she's going to tell that story, and it's and she'll relive it the rest of her life, and I think that's great.
And it capped off a really interesting game and really a quarter for her earlier in that fourth quarter, fighting for a rebound. It looked like she might have done something to her right foot. She was limping around a little bit. They never took her out of the game, and she ends up the hero. She's as tough as it gets, and she's really incredible to watch these last 4 years. Hey, we've got a caller on hold. We got Terry, who's near Alma, wanted to talk with us and Chuck Barrett. Hey, Terry, thanks for holding, and thanks for the call. What's up?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Great.
Doing great.
Great.
Yo.
Hey, listen, I got a question. Last fall when Jalen Catalan got hurt, we as a Razorback Nation should have reached out to him and thanked him for coming back for another year. All right, we got Trevon Brazile. He was hurt. We need to let these athletes know that we're with them and we want them to come back the next year instead of just shutting them out, not mentioning them any further. I mean, we need to let them know that they have our support behind them in whatever they need. Because if we get Brazil back next year, who knows what the basketball team's going to look like next year. But if we have him as the centerpiece, we're going to do great. But if we don't, we're going to be in the same situation again next year. So, I mean, the athletes that put it on the line for us, we need to, if they get hurt, we need to let them know that we're going to be here for them throughout the year and the following year when they come back to play. And instead, Catalan, he's going to play for, our beloved Longhorns like that. I mean, that's just an insult on Razorback fans for not standing up for him. So, any comments y'all have on that, I appreciate it. But we need to let them know that they're loved. We want them to come back. Y'all have a good day.
All right.
Terry,
thank you
very
for
much.
your call. It's been interesting to watch the difference. I didn't really think about it, frankly, till he brought it up. But, when Catalan was injured, right away, he wanted to get away. I mean, he was just devastated, and he wanted to get away. I'm not saying that, he thought then, well, I'm going to leave. I'm just saying he wanted to get away from it for a little bit. Brazil has jumped right back into it. I mean, Phil, you were there last night. Trevin was at the basketball game. He's been very visible around campus.
He was even shooting a little bit when we were done in the postgame. He was shooting.
Yeah. So now I think the difference there is that Catalan did not have NFL draft prospects at the end of this past season, coming back from
only
that
because of injury, though, not because of his talent.
No, right. But my point is that if Catalan was going to come back from his injury, it was going to have to be at the collegiate level. I think the question with Brazil is not will he transfer. I don't believe he will. I think the question is what's his draft perspective like. And my understanding is it's pretty good. So I think if he does not come back, it probably will have more to do with him going pro than it would him going somewhere else. I hear what the caller is saying in that, sometimes as fans, we take too much of a next man up mentality. And that's why when something like what happened with Catalan happens, I think it's important for us to realize the devastation on the young man. as opposed to focusing on how this affects our team. So, how you reach out, I mean, there's all kinds of avenues. Social media seems to be the one that most people go to now. But, there's probably something to be said for that. I don't think anyone intentionally discards anybody. I just think sometimes as fans maybe we're so focused on how it affects the team, we forget how it affects the young person.
Well, and hopefully I wish him well. I think he's like Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know who his NBA comparable is, but he's Kristaps Porzingis, just a little bit shorter. But and he was the number 1 overall pick. So if the dude can get healthy, he can play at the next level. And if you look at our roster, Jordan Walsh is coming back, Joseph Pinion's coming back, Darian Ford, Barry Dunning. And then if Ricky Council and Devontae, they're not going to the NBA, so if they want to, they come back. So we're going to have a lot of good players that have come back that are going to make a lot of big plays on this team next year.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to – everything is so different now. You don't really know just because a player can come back doesn't mean he's going to. And as we're seeing, in football, even sometimes when it would make sense for him to come back, they don't come back. So that part's really unpredictable. But theoretically, yes. I mean, you look at a lot of guys, and there would be a lot of people back. I have no idea how it's going to go with Trevin Brazile, and I don't even want to pretend that I do. But again, I don't worry about him going to another school. I just think if he's not here next year, it'll be because his draft stock stayed high. So
he's a first rounder, you think? Because I think that's the only way you go. You don't go if you're not a first rounder. Stay here, get healthy, and play in the SEC and showcase your talents.
Probably so. Yeah. Because here's the thing: if you're a second-round pick, it's not guaranteed money. If you've got a good NIL deal, that's guaranteed money. I'd
rather be playing for the Hogs than the San Francisco 39ers, playing in the G League team. Right. I'd rather definitely be playing for the Razorbacks, so I get your point.
It's definitely different sport to sport. I think of Peyton Paulette, who had the Tommy John surgery before the baseball season last year. He ended up going to the draft too because there was no leverage any longer after that, and he might have been a first-round pick, probably would have been if he'd have been healthy. So it's a different thing sport to sport with season-ending injuries. Just hope that they get healthy and are able to, continue their career at some point.
Absolutely.
About Catalan.
Absolutely.
Maybe you hate seeing him go to Texas, but I can understand why fans would feel that way, but it's a Texas kid. So, Chuck, we're up against it. Appreciate you always hopping on with us on these Tuesdays.
Enjoyed it, guys.
Thanks,
Chuck.
Have
a good day.
You got it. Chuck Barrett, voice of the Razorbacks, with us every Tuesday. The latest Give Me the Hogs Chuck podcast will come out tomorrow, and he'll be on the Morning Rush tomorrow. Of course, it's a long day tomorrow with an 8 o'clock tip at Columbia, Missouri, which, by the way, 42 degrees and raining in Columbia tomorrow. It is just another day in Columbia, Missouri. Wrapping up hour number 1 of halftime after this quick break.
Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Get the best value, service, and TV locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Stop in and ask us about the Hopper 3, Dish's most advanced DVR that delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recordings anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now. WOW World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or online at shopwownow.com. World of Wireless is located at 601 Church Street in Barling next to Frank Rowe Furniture. That's 601 Church Street in Barling. Come see us at our new location.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device. Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Hart's.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call Phil Hicks in Greenwood or Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all. They do it from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company has two locations, 1316 South Zero and 200 South Zero Street in Fort Smith, serving the glass and glazing needs of Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma, commercial and residential. Tub and shower enclosures, mirrors, glass table, and countertops cut to custom size are just a few services offered by Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company. Arkansas Glass and Mirror stocks laminate glass, plexiglass, Lexan, window glass, and mirror and plate glass. For more information, call 646-4300. That's 646-4300.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball mark the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
And wanted to make sure we wished a very happy 92nd birthday to that voice, that man. It is James Earl Jones. And yes, you have to also remember, you can't just play that clip if you're looking at sports movies. Well, this isn't a sports movie, but it goes along with James Earl Jones, too. Same guy, of course.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
I am your father.
Spoiler alert. The biggest giveaway in cinema history, Vader means father. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means he was attracted to his sister.
Ooh, yuck. What was the more iconic line? People will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. Or, Luke, I am your father.
I've never seen Star Wars, so I got to go Field of Dreams.
Oh, my God.
I've never seen all 7 of them. Is there 7 of them or something?
There's like 9, 10, 11 of them right now.
No, you're just talking about the movies. James Earl Jones did the Darth Vader voice in the Obi-Wan series that came out last year.
Nice.
So he's still, yeah.
That's obviously more famous is the Star Wars. That's where everybody knows him, right? Yeah.
Everybody
I'm always
quotes that
reminded
one.
of there was a moment, gosh, this was like 21, 22 years ago when James Earl Ray died, the assassin who murdered Martin Luther King. And the voice of the Pirates then, Lanny Fratteri, misread it on The Wire.
Ooh.
And he goes into this lengthy soliloquy about we lost one of the great actors of our time, James Earl Jones. And he was most definitely alive then. And 22 or 23 years later, he's 92 years old, and he's still working. Still has the voice, I guess. Although there are these, kind of devices that might help anybody sound like Darth Vader, but they're all modeled after him.
Legend. He's a legend. That voice, him, and you put him up there with what, Morgan Freeman. You try to think of like if you would like to Ben Scully, like if you want to just hear people narrate, he's one of them.
Well, yeah, people that are identifiable solely by their voices. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Oh, didn't he make an appearance in the Coming to America 2 movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yes, as King Joffrey Joffair. Yes, we remember that one as well. Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars was a sports movie that James Earl Jones starred in. You remember him from The Sandlot. He was the elderly man where
he had
that owned the
beast.
dog that slobbered all over
I
the
don't
baseball.
want no baseball signed by Babe.
Who's this baby Ruth? The Great White Hope, the greatest. Yeah, James Earl Jones, one of our great sports actors of all time, along with being one of the great actors of all time. One of the greatest of all time joins us for the next 2 hours on Halftime. It's Clay Henry. You can be a GOAT as well by calling us at 877-377-6963 on a Tuesday. Halftime, we'll be right back.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Thank you and thank you from Art's Barbecue and Burgers for a successful year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to shout out our amazing community of customers that we are grateful and thankful for, each and every one of you. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wants to continue to enjoy our best barbecue, burgers, all-you-can-eat catfish every Friday night, and of course, the great sides and desserts. Art's Barbecue and Burgers wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Art's Barbecue and Burgers on Rogers,
next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Drs. Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Do you need help with your next project? Metters Lumber True Value is here to help. A family-owned business since 1936, the staff has more than 90 years of experience in construction and the hardware business. If they don't have what you need, they know how to get it, and they are more than happy to accommodate your special order. So whether it's building a new deck, a paint project around the house, or needing a new set of tools, Metters Lumber True Value has everything you need. With locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville, and you can shop online at metterslumber.com. Metters Lumber True Value.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
ESPN Arkansas weather. For today, an increase in the cloud cover. Our high temperatures in the afternoon in the mid to upper 60s. Chance of seeing some overnight showers tonight. We drop down upper 40s to low 50s. Clouds, showers, a chance of a few thunderstorms on Wednesday. Our high will be into the lower 60s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
We want to win the West. We want to win the Natty. We want to win all of it. And we're at Arkansas. We should have that opportunity to do that.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold your roll, hold your roll, hold your roll. I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones. Hold your roll, hold your roll. 1, 2, 3. Turn that down,
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Hour number 2 of Halftime is with you on a Tuesday. And that means we bring on the one and only Clay Henry. Good afternoon, Clay. How are you? You've been hunting, man. Showed me some photos of some lovely ducks.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of ducks in where I was at in the prairie, down around Carlisle at Steel Wings, and then was at Hampton's Reservoir hunting out of Jerry Jones's Duck Club, Red Hill Hunting Club. It was a little cool to watch the Cowboys game last night with his pictures all on the walls at the Red Hill.
I mean, as a Cowboy fan, you have to be excited about Dak and that defense. Clay, that defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl if they won't mess it up.
They're playing good right now, and they're healthy. Now, where I start. Everybody's like talking about the quarterback, and I thought they protected him like champs. I mean, their offensive line, they established the run, both in the perimeter, and then they got some double teams going inside and got some seams, and then all at once they thought they had to stop the run, and they started hitting those passes. But it starts with that offensive line, and then Dak didn't make any mistakes. And I would say McCarthy had a great game plan, and I'm sure that his offensive coordinator is doing some of that too. But I have a lot of respect for McCarthy as an offensive play caller.
So, still talking about the quarterbacks. We have to talk about quarterbacks because that's the first thing we'll mention. I know you'll go to the line of scrimmage every time.
Eventually.
But you think Tom Brady's done? Some folks think he's I don't think he's going to retire. I think maybe he should. There's a difference between what folks think he should do and what Tom Brady thinks is best for himself. I think he's addicted to competition. Honestly, I think he would play until he's dead if he could.
I think we go back to complementary players. If the rest of the offense is got the same abilities that he does, both mentally, physically, and they've got good offensive line play. I'm not talking about Tampa. I think he's done there, but he's going to pick out some place that he can go in and that he's the missing link, and do it one more time, and then he might do it one more time.
Well, we're not going to get any answers on that anytime soon. That's for certain. Hey, one last thing on the Cowboys. It has nothing to do with the actual team. Because you were at Jerry Jones's own lodge.
Yeah.
This is I sent Matt the photo that Clay had forwarded to me of this camouflage hat.
Oh,
with
my goodness.
A rather unique Cowboys logo.
Are
you allowed to do this? Are you allowed to do this to the Cowboys logo, or is it sacrilege to throw a mallard in the middle of it?
Well, Well, if there's anybody that can
best
do it,
looking
it's
hat I've
Jerry.
seen. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean,
he
it's
can do what he
his
wants
logo.
with his own logo.
He owns it. Yeah. And who knows? Steven might. Steven's down there a lot. I think he really likes to hunt. I got to tell you, I was the guest of Dr. Jim Counts, and that's hanging out with Jim, and I call him Jimmy. He's always going to be Jimmy to me. That's what he was when he played. And I was covering the team just barely as the sports there, the Conway Log Cabin. Because Marvin Delph was on the team, and he's from Conway, so I had to kind of do that. But it was really a lot of cool moments, and the guides, they talk. Well, Jerry's done hit. He does this. He hits. You get all those little stories that are fun, and I'm sure there's been some interesting folks come through that duck club. As guest of Jerry and Steven and Jerry Jr. But he can use that logo how he wants to, Phil.
I guess so. I mean, it's not. It wouldn't be sacrilege if he did it himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Then on the outside of the lodge, there's a big Cowboy star, and then they have a. When you go to a rental car at the airport, and they pick you up at your, in those like big oversized van type rigs, and they've got one of those fixed up to take you from the lodge to the reservoir, and it's got Cowboy logos on it.
Very cool. Hey, we've got Charlie on hold here. Anybody wants to get in on the show, calls and texts at 877-377-6963. Charlie, you just heard, as you will refer to Clay sometimes, the GOAT call you Tuna. We got nicknames, calling each other nicknames here. What's up, Charlie? How are you?
What's up, guys? So you saying, Clay's the GOAT? Is that where we're going? I like it.
I've heard you call him that before. I'm only using your words.
Clay is the GOAT.
He is he is definitely, as far as Arkansas media, one of my favorites over the years. So I'll give him that. But I mean, I'm biased. So hey, whatever. He's still one of the best to me. I'll tell you what, Clay, you made a good point about the boys, though, because I'm a huge Cowboys fan. Phil knows that. But I agree with you, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we can say Dak this, Dak that, but they did, in the past, I think, month or so, they've been the worst rushing team in the league. And yesterday they finally got back to, it wasn't like the great, but they averaged 3.7 yards per carry. They were able to get that going a little bit, and, it opened up some things, and they protected him, and that was the key. I mean, at the end of the day, I think with the Cowboys, the quarterback always gets all the blame, all the credit, blah, blah, blah. But you're right, man. At the end of the day, line of scrimmage, that was the key. I'm going to be a realist, though, as a Cowboys fan.
Tuna, I thought
Go ahead, Clay.
The second and third quarter, they ran it really well. And I bet it was better than that. I bet it was probably over 4 during that time frame.
During those moments. Yeah.
Like early in the game, not so great. They had a couple of 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
And then they picked up steam. And then, of course, they had some kneel downs at the end where, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I bet you when they were really torching Tampa Bay's defense, that run game was doing just fine.
Oh, yeah. And Tony Pollard, no offense to Zeke as much as I love him, he's just a better player than Zeke at this point.
They need both of them. Yeah.
They do. Yeah, they do, definitely. Short yardage for Zeke, I agree, 100%. They need them both. I'll say this, though, going into that game next week, I am also a realist. If I look on paper next week, I think San Francisco's a better football team overall. From when you're talking about from top to bottom, inside and out, I think they are the better football team. Now, granted, it's one game. It's the playoffs, and anything can happen. So we'll see. If it turns out to where the two quarterbacks have to make the plays, I would take Dak. But if it's a true line of scrimmage game from start to finish, I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody can beat San Francisco right now.
It's advantage 49ers, bro. Cowboys short week, got to go all the way across the country.
That's tough. Yeah, I agree. And, guys, as far as this basketball team goes, I know I didn't call in yesterday, and I know there's been a lot of, frustrating fans. I'm not going to give up on them yet. We still got a chance here. this is a big one. The schedule's going to lighten up a little bit here. If we can steal one tomorrow, it's going to be big to get some confidence back. And we got a couple home games, I think. So it's a huge game. I was upset the other day about the Vandy game, not because we lost, but because of how we lost. And I just felt like in the second half, defensively, nothing we did. We couldn't stop anything, whether it be the 3 layups, free throws, and it was just one of our worst performances. Offensively, we're actually really good. So it's just frustrating when you have a team that's so young and trying to figure it out. In one game, it's one thing, and next game, it's another. So anyways, guys, it's just the way it goes, I guess. I'm not giving up on them yet. Anyways, y'all have a good one.
Bright spot is that all this stuff is happening in early to mid-January. If it was happening in the middle of February, you'd be even more worried than you are right now. It's just you got to find a way to stop the slump. There's still time to stop the slump before it really turns into a crater that ruins your season and basically decides whether or not you got to make a run in Nashville in order to get to the national tournament, other than getting in as an at-large. You got to find a way to stop the skid. One win. I don't care how you do it. But right now, Clay, it's like I brought this up yesterday, and Charlie's right about this. One game it's defense. One game it's jacking up too many threes, and that's not the way you're built. Another game, you just couldn't flat out score enough, or it's been one thing or another on a game-by-game basis, and that's what worries me when you see a team losing games in various styles and various ways.
This was pointed out to me back in the summer that you have a collection of players coming in that all have great assets. There's something about every one of them that you like. That's the reason they got him, and there's some magic in all these guys. But the freshmen played against Arkansas competition. They played AAU. Some of them didn't play at the highest level. Nick did, but there's an adjustment for those guys to suddenly play in the SEC. They did pretty well in the non-conference, I thought. But they had most of them, and they had Brazil. Then the other transfers, some of these older guys, they came from programs where they were not successful. I'm not talking about individually, but I'm talking about as a team. Yeah. And you can that they weren't trained in winning basketball, so to speak. Defense matters, everything matters. All the little things, are focused, and we knew that was the case that's the way Musselman coaches, that's the way Eddie Sutton. No, that they had things that they really focused on, and they were winning things. They're putting this together, and it's piece by piece, and you fix things, and then there's game slippage, and then you have to go back and fix. It's a hard, tough process to do it with so many new pieces.
Yeah.
Now,
kind of got to hope that once they find a recipe to win a game, that you can start repeating that.
Yeah. And then they're going to get to this part of the schedule. They went through 4 out of 6 on the road. That it will help them in February to get to the, I call it the white meat of the schedule. That's the way I look at things. The poultry, that's the best part, right? Or at least it's the part most everybody can get the most meat out of. So it's got the good part of the schedule coming. The other possibility is that you get Nick Smith back. And then if they take off and really play well with Nick and everything kind of gelling together, it gives the committee a chance to say they were in a tough spot with injuries, and they can do that.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
Can say they can do it both ways. Like you lose 2 or 3 key players at the end, and you go on a losing streak. They say, well, you're not worthy anymore, and you won all those games in January, and we're kind of this is not the same team. Well, you can do it, flip it around, where you say this is not the same team. It's a better team. So they all is not lost because of this January slide.
Let's take Wade in Branch's phone call. A couple of callers on hold here. Hi, Wade. How you doing? What's up?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. How y'all doing?
Fantastic today. Thank you.
Well, Anyway, I was just calling about the 49ers Cowboys game next week. To be honest with you, I'm a little. I know the 49ers are favored, but I'm a little nervous about this one, and because Brock Purdy's done a pretty fair job, what he's done, but he's going against Dak Prescott, and you got the veteran against the rookie, and besides that, I've watched a lot of 49er games on TV when they played the Dallas Cowboys at San Francisco, and believe it or not, there's a lot of Dallas Cowboys supporters in San Francisco. I mean, when they Cowboys play well, the crowd is just cheering, and I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I really think it'll probably come down to a one-score game either way. But I'm a long life 49er fan, and as well as a Giant fan, as you well know, Phil. And but anyway, that's what I got to say, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah,
Thanks, Wade. Good to hear from you.
It's good. There's Cowboy fans everywhere, but Phil, they got a short week with San Fran essentially getting a bye week. You're going to Florida. You're flying all over the country late in the year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be everything Dallas has, emotionally, physically, mentally, to win this game. I mean, I know they beat Tampa, but Tampa's they got a defense too, and I'll tell you this, San Francisco's not gonna run the ball just 9 times. That was the thing. As any defensive rusher, I tell you, if I know you're passing the ball, we're gonna put some pressure on the quarterback. You got to be able to throw him off balance a little bit. And with Christian McCaffrey, which we talked about that trade a little bit, Phil, how good of a trade that was, especially if he stays healthy. Christian McCaffrey's gonna touch the ball 20 times. You better believe it.
Well, if he doesn't, Deebo Samuels will.
Right.
I mean, I like that guy too.
They got some.
I just love and as an unbiased observer here, I guess I'd say I'm a little unbiased, even though I really don't like the Cowboys. I don't have any soft and fuzzy feelings for the Niners. I love these two franchises meeting in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this reminds me of the early '90s.
Yes.
It just reminds me of when I really turned into an NFL fan. Those were the games that basically decided who was going to play in the Super Bowl for about 3 or 4 years. At least that's what it felt like. I don't know if that's the case this time, but it's good to see them meeting in the postseason again. Hey, look who's up next. It's Eduardo in Clarksville. Eddie has not been too happy with the performance of the basketball team right now. I can tell you that because I got 2 texts that took up my entire phone screen, and I have one of the big phones. So Eddie had a lot to say. Eduardo, how are you today?
I'm doing good, sir. And as I'm listening to you today, man, I got the blood running through my veins right now. When you talk about the early 90s, I've always been a Cowboy fan. And you talk about 93, 94, 95 when these teams went at it. You talk about Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. You talk about Troy Aikman, Michael Irwin, Emmitt Smith. I mean, they don't get any better. And let me say this. I like the Cowboys' chances to go to Candlestick, and when they leave, the whistle will be blowing back to Dallas.
Well, if they show up at Candlestick, they're going to be late to the game.
It was the 90s theme. Yeah.
Yeah. Candlestick is in San Francisco. The stadium's in Santa Clara now.
What is the recipe? Well, last night you said it on display. 1, you didn't turn the ball over. That's important ingredient number 1. Ingredient number 2, you held the penalties down. And number 3, you played defense with the best of them, and your defense is going to get you this win come this weekend. Now step up and put Purdy on his rear end, and I believe that's what's going to take place. And they ran the football. So when you got a balanced offense, there's a recipe right there. Let's go, Cowboys. Let's beat the 49ers. And get back
Eddie, I got
to
a question
the Super
for
Bowl.
you. Eddie, I got a question for you here. By the way, reason number 5 would be show up at the right stadium. That helps. If Hog Delight is what you get when the Razorbacks win a game, and that's the recipe, I'm asking, what is the recipe for, is there such a thing as Cowboy Delight?
Well, sir, you just seen it on display, and that's the recipe of Cowboy Delight. Do not turn the ball over, Dak. You played the best game of the season, maybe of your career. It's pretty good in Minnesota. But that last night, you did pick out you went to 10 different receivers. I mean, spread the field. And then you run the football with Pollard. I like Pollard. Hey, he'll get you yardage. Let me say this. Defense. Teams win Super Bowls with defense. And I'm going with Big D and Dallas.
Eddie, it's great to hear from you. Thank you for listening to our show. I don't even want to know what the recipe of Cowboy Delight would be. Yeah, I have 2 texts here from the last 3 days from Eddie. One is probably like a dissertation about the Razorback game. The other is another dissertation about the Cowboys. Texts from Eddie in Clarksville could be a sitcom. I think that's a real thing. Meanwhile, we'll step aside for a break. We have Name That Hog, presented by Alumni Hall. We'll have a $25 gift card for anybody who can answer the question of Name That Hog after this quick break.
As he rode away, he never hung his hat up at Kitty's place. I should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope and ride, wearing my 6-shoe, riding my pony on a cat and drive, stealing a young girl's hearts, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. Oh, I should have been a cowboy.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Harry Robinson Salisol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisol.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Drs. Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Papa's Pub and Pizzeria is the #1 place to watch every Arkansas basketball game this season. The Hogzilla Specialty Pizza is only $16.99. The Hogzilla Specialty Pizza is made with pulled pork from Neumeyer's Rib Room, sausage, Canadian bacon, pepperoni, crispy bacon, and cheese. Dusted with Neumeyer's Rib Rub. Hop on the Must Bus for every Arkansas basketball game at Papa's. 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Seconds inbounds. And here's the game. Into the front court, Giroud. Long three for the tie. She banked it in. 4.3 seconds inbound. Daniels in the front court. Mack for the win. She made it! Off the backboard. The Hogs win. The Razorbacks win. Michaela Daniels from near midcourt hits the buzzer beater. This one belongs to the Razorbacks. 84-81. Oh, my goodness.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
You guys saw the highlight of that, and I didn't see it when it happened, but I have seen the highlight on social media quite a bit. Our team photographer, Noah Southard, was part of the entertainment of that game-winning bank shot by Mack last night. Noah ate it on live television in front of millions of people on the SEC network chasing the scrum after the shot. Noah's the new team photographer. He travels with the team anytime we go on the road, does great work. He's very talented. And he busted his ass yesterday. Literally busted his ass to get as close as he could.
I thought what he busted was more like the front. I didn't think he landed on his butt.
Like a slip and slide.
I get your point.
Yeah, he was going for distance.
He came. He was on the end of the bench, and I mean, Noah's like, I'd say he's like offensive guard girth.
Yeah,
being fair,
that'd be about right. He's got a good low center of gravity.
He was running 4 power. We were pulling.
And he came off the bench, and he's got his little digital recorder, in his hand. And I don't know if somebody tripped him or like he got ahead of himself, but he went down and started sliding through players' legs, and it was, I mean, and the best part of it is he stopped sliding. And then the players they moved away from him. I think they realized he's down on the ground. And so they're more towards the bench, and he's like between the bench and the free throw line. And he popped up, and he was like spider-like. I mean, had that camera. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Dedication to the job. You got to pick yourself up. I mean, if a base runner slaps, falls down between the bases, got to get up and keep running, man.
Ground's on fire. I had a coach like that, Phil, and Clay said the ground's on fire. Don't be laying on the ground. Get back up.
Don't stay there. Yeah.
Well, the court was on fire, and so was Noah yesterday.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool game. Yeah.
It actually adds to that. Sooner or later, that they'll add his vantage point of him falling down to the actual highlight, which
no question
will get played over and over again. It was part of the entertainment of thousands of people going crazy on the first buzzer beater we've seen for the women's basketball team. I think it's been like 5 years. 5 years. And the last one was against Vanderbilt. Go figure how these things work out.
So,
all right.
Well, yeah, let me finish. I guess.
Sure.
So when I saw it, I thought he did it on purpose, and it was like a soccer celebration where they go sliding face first into the corner flag.
Is that how all the European photographers celebrate?
Yes. I had to see it a second time to realize, oh, no, he didn't mean to do that, as he came just diving across the floor.
You just can't raise your hands above your hips when you celebrate, though. You got to celebrate with your hands low.
Yep.
Noah didn't make himself the story, but he was just a little part of the story. All right, we need to do Name That Hog, but we might be up against the break, so we might want to.
I talked too long.
No, it's okay. We were getting into some entertaining stuff, so I did promise that we would do Name That Hog in a moment. So we'll do that in the very next segment. Means we've got a 25. We want to give the right amount of time for this because sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. This one, I don't know. I have a feeling somebody's going to get this pretty early, so we'll see. Especially if I name the hometown.
I was weak.
I'm not saying you were weak. It's a good one.
We can go with like
clues,
like 0.7 first, maybe. You know, like we don't have to go. We don't have to go in order. We can throw them around a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got like 6 or 7 different data points here about this former Razorback who remains in the area. So there's a little hint for you, too. $25 gift card to Alumni Hall in Fayetteville coming up next on Halftime. Stay with us for Name That Hog.
2023 is finally here, and Red River Dodge of Heber Springs is here to help you start something new.
Like with the all-new redesigned Jeep Grand Cherokee, available in 2- or 3-row seating with all the luxury and safety features you love.
Or like a TRX with 700 horsepower. We guarantee that we have a vehicle that will fit your needs.
So for all your new Ram, Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep vehicles, visit us online at redriverdodge.com.
And remember, at Red River, we deliver during the Start Something New sales event.
Joe Klein here for Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
You bet it is, Joe, and football is in the air, which means Bet Saracen has everything you're looking for and more right there on your cell phone.
Now everyone can get in the game and follow your favorite team.
And that's right on the money. If putting down a little wager makes your favorite game a little more exciting, well, go to the app stores and download Bet Saracen. We even got a demo video to show you how to play.
Or find it at betsaracen.com.
Happy New Year, everyone. Hi, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, the home of inflation elimination. That's right, we've had enough. Thanks to our live market value pricing, our prices are dropping and our customers are saving now. And you can too on a great selection of Rath Road Ready vehicles, the best used cars you can buy. Plus, our non-commissioned solution specialists are there for you. Let them worry about making all the numbers work. It's what they're paid to do. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3 get 1 free on all tires. For even more savings and protection, ask about our new Meineke Miles service contracts and prepaid maintenance products. They'll help you keep your car in tip-top shape while saving you money. So if you're like us and you want 23 to be the best year ever and you're ready for some inflation elimination, start today by driving better in a nicer, newer car from Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric has been the most trusted heating and air company in Arkansas for more than 50 years. As the winter weather changes from hot to cold, trust the pros at Pascal to ensure your system is performing at its best. Right now, get a heating tune-up for only $99 per system. Want full protection and member discounts? It's only $1 more per visit. Call today or visit gopascal.com to schedule online anytime. Professional people, professional service. gopascal.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Need to lose 100 pounds this year? Don't restrict your diet. Forget joining a gym. Instead, lose the weight of that cheating spouse of yours. At Mock Legal Solutions, there is no hourly billing. You pay one flat fee for your divorce. Call today, 479-769-1505. And let's be honest, it's closer to 200 pounds, right? Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Find halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, it's time to give away a $25 gift card to Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. If you can name that hog. Alumni Hall in Fayetteville is your place when you want to show your hog pride. They got the ultimate shopping experience for every Razorback fan with the best, largest selection of apparel for the entire family. Nike, Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, all the gifts, accessories, and tailgating necessities. Plus, Arkansas students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store. And with their Hall Pass rewards, you can get cash back with every purchase at Alumni Hall in Fayetteville at North College Avenue next to Whole Foods. Also online, alumnihall.com. We do this through the text line only, 877-377-6963. Name that hog. I was the honorary captain for the Arkansas SEMO game in 2006. Now that would be the toughest of, I think, all of the
pretty obscure clue.
Yeah, that's a good obscure one for guess number one. 877-377-6963. I don't even remember what happened in that ball game in 2006 against Southeast Missouri, so I'm not sure if anybody would remember who the captain was. No, Dave,
Arkansas
it was not Bubba Carpenter. This was a football game that he was a captain of. So an honorary. They don't do honorary captains for baseball games or for basketball games. It's just for football.
Do they do the first pitch though? Is that still a thing, or is that just special games, or is that an every game thing where they do a first pitch?
I don't think there's a ceremonial first pitch for every game. It's most of them. Sometimes it's a sponsor. Other times, it's somebody famous, someone that's getting honored. But they don't do the honorary captain thing. I'm just going back to look now at that 2006 game. Sometimes
there's not really a good reason for a guy to throw out the first pitch like the one I threw out.
Where'd you throw it at, Clay? What ballpark were you in?
Baum Stadium.
He was at Baum.
Stadium.
Would you go with the knuckler or what?
I thought it was my fastball. Bubba thought it was a changeup.
It wasn't as bad as Curtis Jackson, was it?
No,
Oh,
do a
50
strike.
cents. Yeah. Okay, there we go, Clay. I thought
He
you were an athlete.
he at least had his pitch cross the plate. It was a strike.
There we go. Barrett, that's all you got to do,
It was
Clay.
down in the zone.
Down in the zone.
This wasn't a Carl Lewis first
You're trying to get a ground ball. Yeah.
Yeah, Phil said he would have fouled it off his instep.
Exactly.
I mean, Bubba did. I don't think Phil said what he would do. Bubba said, I would have hit that so hard, but it would have gone straight into my ankle.
I would have just called it ball
'Cause he would have been early.
Ball 3, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Arkansas beat SEMO 63-7 in the game that this former Razorback was the honorary captain.
Nobody even hazarded a guess on that, did they?
Oh, they did, yeah.
Oh.
In fact, we actually have a right answer already.
Oh, really?
You never know about these people that just know some of the most esoteric information in Razorback history. There's one
there
correct,
may be
two
a way
correct,
to look
three
that
correct.
up. I think Google just like sabotages this whole project.
It does. It does. So I'll just continue with the rest of the clues here. My jersey from my senior season hangs at Herman's Rib House in Fayetteville. 877-377-6963. I don't even know I'm giving the phone number anymore because we've got 3 correct answers. Moved from defensive line to inside linebacker by coordinator John Thompson.
One of the best moves John Thompson made in his coaching career up there. That was
This is a player that Matt Jones has spoken about quite a bit in the time that he's been on halftime these last few months.
He's a first ballot all defensive guy for my 4 years there. Yeah, you'd be taking him. He'd be one of your first picks.
He's a health coach now, an organization that's in Northwest Arkansas. Pretty sure that he's run this business for, I think it's been like 8 or 9 or maybe 10 years.
And like Clay is saying, just one of those guys that's a football player. He's a football. I mean, you want him out there. Yeah.
I am from Inman, South Carolina. If I said where he went to school before coming to Arkansas, that would give it away, but it's already given away. 150 tackles in 2001. Only 4 players ever had more tackles in a single season at Arkansas than this former Razorback. Name that hog. It is Jermaine Petty.
So, Matt, tell us the most famous tackle that you ever saw.
So I'm sitting over there talking with John Thompson, like, hey, man, can we just get one more stop? We're scoring. You know, I'm a freshman, and Thompson's, like, looking at me like, get out of here, freshman. You know, he's like, man, I'm trying. I said, all right, coach. I said, we're going to get one more score for you because you don't know any better, but, we're going to go score.
It's the 7th overtime.
Yeah, it's like the 5th overtime when I'm talking to him there.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And then we're getting to the 6th and stuff, and then we go down and score, and they are on. I want to believe it was a 4th down play. It was a 2-point conversion play, and I saw Eli Manning do what I just saw Kirk Cousins do in the Minnesota game. Kirk, did you see Kirk Cousins throw it 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage to a tight end that hasn't broken a tackle since high school? I mean, what in the – anyways, so Eli Manning, and we got to talk about this last year about this play because Eli even brought it up, that you're taught to throw the ball ahead of your first down line, and in this case being a 2-point conversion, you just got to throw it 3 yards. And so you see Jermaine drop back just a couple steps, and it's. I mean, we're all tired by this point, and when he lets it go, you see Jermaine break on that and just make it just a textbook tackle, how you would draw it up. And then the homie, he goes down and sprints like a soccer player, like nobody wants to. You know, he just takes off running on an 80-yard sprint. It was
80 yards. He did.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite tackles ever.
Yep. I mean, it's almost like he's doing the airplane deal, running down the field with his arms out.
Just
it
excitement,
was awesome.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Our winner for
he
Name That Hog is Chandler and Van Buren today.
He just felt different. Like when you touched him on the arm, or kind of, you go up to somebody and you kind of punch him on the arm, and it's like nothing even moves. You're like, is that like an oak tree right there? What is that?
Yeah, I think he played middle linebacker at about 250. Maybe 255, but he was, he'd hit guys and they didn't fall forward. They did not.
He's one of those old school middle linebackers, Phil. Like if you remember, like you'd have that, like you run stopper, exactly.
Like a Singletary.
Yes, sir.
Mike Singletary kind of a player. He did play in the NFL for a little bit too, right?
He did.
You had Carlos Hall in that defense. I think he played a little bit. Ken Hamlin. I mean, that was a good defense, man. You look up and down that defensive roster. That was pretty good defense.
Was Bua on that?
Bua was on that. I mean, that was solid. Yeah.
And those are a couple of pretty darn good defensive players on the
really
same team
talented
right
Arkansas roster at that point, I think, Matt. Maybe people don't really realize how talented your bunch was.
That next year was the best team I was on. We ended up those next 2 years. Those next 2 seasons were the best teams that I'd played on. And that 1 year that we had the weird call against Auburn and Florida, that team was just as good as any of them. I mean, there was studs up and down. That Coach Nutt did a great job. I mean, you bring in Sean Andrews and Jason Peters in the same class, you're going to be good for a couple years just for those guys.
The field
Congratulations
to that side.
Congratulations to Chandler and Van Buren, who was the first to send in the right answer, and he has won $25 in gift card form to Alumni Hall in Fayetteville. All right, let's break, and we'll wrap up hour number 2 in just a moment with some thoughts on Arkansas baseball. Now 31 days away from the start of the college baseball season. One thing I know, one thing I don't know, coming up next.
It's 2 a.m. Fear is gone. Still here. The sun's still warm.
Make today more interesting with Bentley's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by
basketball and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Some advice. If you're bad to your baby, you better think twice. Love don't come easy. Love ain't blind. You got to show her you love her morning and night. Be there for her just to make things right. Make her believe till there ain't a doubt in her mind. Baby, with a love that's strong. Hold her and tell her you'll never do wrong.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
31 days away from the start of the college baseball season. D1 Baseball released their preseason poll yesterday. The one I pay attention to probably more than the others. And by the way, Kendall Rogers joins us in about 25 minutes from D1 Baseball to go through, Arkansas. You know, have to go through some of the other SEC teams too. They've got the Hogs ranked 8th, but LSU, Tennessee, Stanford, Ole Miss, A&M, Wake Forest, and Florida are ranked in front of the Razorbacks by D1 Baseball. So that's 5 SEC teams ahead of the Razorbacks, including 3 in their own division. So according to D1 Baseball, Arkansas theoretically could finish 4th in the West. It would be the 8th best team in the country. Vanderbilt's ranked 10th. Going through the rest of this, Alabama number 20. That's a surprise. You do not see Alabama usually ranked preseason or at any other point during the year. South Carolina is ranked 23rd. So as usual, just a ton of SEC teams littered throughout the top 25. One thing I know about this upcoming baseball season is the game is going to be moving a little bit quicker than it did previously because there is a 20-second pitch clock, which they will actually be enforcing. The SEC has utilized the pitch clock in the last umpteen years. No one's ever done anything about it. If it's ever been enforced, it's been enforced intermittently or just never. So this is going to change the game of college baseball for the better, but it might take a little bit of time for teams to get used to this because when you think of college baseball, it's a lot different than the major leagues because in the majors, quite often, the catcher is calling the game. In college, it is rather rare that the catcher is calling the game, and usually there's a whole series of signals being relayed from the dugout to the catcher. You see the catcher quite often, of course, have to look on the wristband or the armband and then signal out to the pitcher, and there's not going to be a shake-off at that point, but coaches and catchers, they're going to have to either be a lot quicker or they're going to have to invest in the essentially like the tiny little walkie-talkie that SEC teams have been able to use for conference games for the last few years, where there's the earpiece the catcher wears and the pitching coach or head coach can communicate to him just like that. That can help with this 20-second pitch clock. Otherwise, it's going to be, well, it could it could be a little bit messy for the first few weeks of the season. So under the rule, with a runner on base, the pitcher must start the motion of throwing a pitch or make a pickoff throw before the 20 seconds expire. Batters have to be in the box at the 10-second mark. Otherwise, they get a strike called on them. If the 20-second clock expires without a pitch or a pickoff throw being made, a ball is added to the count. I think this is you'll notice this immediately, because I noticed it when I watched minor league baseball games last year. What you'll notice is the game moves along a lot quicker than it did previously. I'm not here to tell you that there won't be 4-hour games, because they're not limiting the number of pitching changes you can make. They're not limiting. They're not forcing pitchers to throw to 3 batters like they are in Major League Baseball now. And so it's, you'll probably still have 3-hour, 45-minute games. It'll just be a little bit. That'll happen fewer times and less often than it did previously. One thing I don't know is when college baseball will mirror the exact rules that are being instituted across Major League Baseball right now. Those things being bigger bases. Infielders have to be on the dirt, and you have to have 2 infielders on either side of second base before the pitch is thrown. 2 pickoff throws only by per at-bat, or a balk is called on the 3rd attempt if you don't pick them off. There might be some other changes that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head, but I've always felt like baseball is the sport that mirrors best between college and professional. There's really not too many differences. Maybe a little bit of the makeup of the ball. Obviously, the bats are a difference, and that does make the game a little bit different. But the rules have generally been about identical. College football, pro football, there's major differences in the rules and even the way the field is constructed. College basketball, NBA basketball, loads of differences in the way the rules are constructed in that game. So because college baseball is usually mirrored what Major League Baseball's rules look like, I have a sense sometime in the next couple of years they're going to have to institute those same rules that are being implemented in Major League Baseball. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I just imagine it's going to be sometime in the next 2 years.
Phil, I always loved the way the different ballparks are in baseball. That was one of the things, just going to a different ballpark and seeing how far the right field was in this ballpark, seeing how big the fence was in this. It was one of my favorite things about baseball, especially when I was younger, because the football field's always the same and the basketball court's always the same, but the ballpark, and you can build your team based on if you want more speed and what. So baseball is definitely a cool sport, no question about it.
Well, and college baseball is it's become my favorite kind of baseball. For someone that never paid attention to college baseball as a kid, I'll enjoy it more than I do the major leagues. Just don't have 162 games and 32 teams to follow. You have, like 350 teams to follow and 56 games followed by a ridiculous month. It is the drunkest sport in the United States of America when it comes to the on-field product, and I say that with all respect to anybody that plays any other sport, including college baseball. Into the 3rd hour of halftime. We'll be right back.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Hey, this is Chad Warner, product manager for Booyah Bait Company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The hottest swim jig on the Arkansas River right now is the Booyah Mobster. It was designed by the Muddy Water Mob, a bunch of river rats from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it's winning tournaments on Dardanelle and Kerr like clockwork. If you're fishing submerged vegetation, water willow, lily pads, you need a Booyah Mobster to reel them in. Available at lurenet.com and tackle stores throughout Arkansas and Oklahoma, the Booyah Mobster.
Frank Rowe Furniture is your family-owned furniture, appliance, and electronics store. We have been servicing the area for 38 years with quality products and service after the sale. Frank Rowe Furniture offers a no-pressure sales atmosphere where you can actually enjoy shopping for your furniture. We also offer in-store, no-credit check financing. Don't wait weeks to be able to take your furniture you purchase home. Stop by and we will load you up today. Family-owned, service after the sale, and no-credit check financing. Frank Rowe Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Best seats in the house.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, Tin Layer Dip, Brisket Nachos, and Mexican Pizza. And ask about Joe's Tailgate Packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, an increase in the cloud cover. Our high temperatures in the afternoon in the mid to upper 60s. Chance of seeing some overnight showers tonight. We drop down upper 40s to low 50s. Clouds, showers, a chance of a few thunderstorms on Wednesday. Our high will be into the lower 60s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
There's only one Razorback. Isn't it the greatest mascot of all time?
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com. KERX, Paris, Fort Smith.
2 seconds, 1 second, he lets fly with a shot.
From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man!
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! 1, 2, 3! Turn that down, Drew!
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, we're into the third hour of halftime on a glorious Tuesday across the Natural State. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Matt Travis, Clay Henry as well. And your calls and texts at 877-377-6963. We talked a little bit yesterday about this deal with Kendall Briles. It's just, there is interest from TCU to hire Briles. I don't know, if there's interest the other way around. I just know now that it's a saga that I think all of us just want to end, so that you know what the coaching staff looks like going in to the offseason. I'm assuming this is the last offensive coordinator job that's available, unless Bill O'Brien gets poached by somebody because Alabama doesn't want him any longer. But at this point, you got to have your coaching staff in place. And that's what I'm gleaning from the Arkansas fan base. It's like whether he stays or goes, you just want this whole thing to be over with, so you have a sense of what your coaching staff looks like.
Well, and also, Phil, you're going to have a new coordinator coming in. You're going to have new terminology. The playbook's going to look a little different, and spring ball is right around the corner. Man, I like the fact that we know what offense we're running. KJ is going to be more comfortable being in the third year in this offense. Man, he should know the offense just as good. I mean, they should be in unison out there together. So you hope that they're both here next year.
It's isn't going away, guys. This is the new normal, and it's if you've got good coordinators, there's whether it's the NFL or a huge number of Power 5 schools. I mean, you're in the same pot with 30, 40, 50 schools, and they've got 1.5 to 2 million to pay coordinators. This isn't going to go away. And it used to be that assistant coaches, they were left alone by the likes of Jimmy Sexton. Not anymore. Coordinators, he's signing coordinators.
There's
now
too much money out there. Yeah,
there's too much money.
Once they got an M, once there was millions of $1 million or so paid to a coordinator.
They're not making 130 grand a year anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and fans like, well, he only got $100,000 raise. He's making 1.5. That 100,000, heck yeah, that's a lot of money. So when and
that
they
pays
say,
your
well,
agent right there.
He's continuing to play with other schools. Well, you have to if somebody's going to give you $150,000 or $300,000 raise. We all would do that. Every fan would do that. And you say, well, I want them to be loyal. It's just the way it's going to be.
Well, I don't know. It's just don't lie to me, though. I get the loyalty, and we know they're going to be moving, but don't tell me you're here and then 2 days later leave. Don't lie to me.
That's the thing that I just and I understand why at that point Bryles sends the tweet out that says run it back, has KJ there next to him, because he didn't know. I guess nobody necessarily would have known that Clemson was firing Street, and that they're going to hire Garrett Riley, and at that point the championship game hadn't been played, so Riley was still at TCU, but I'm with you on that. It's like I just hate it's bad optics, to use a term that we throw out quite a bit. I guess you can understand the whole sense of, well, they're going to pay me more, and I like the opportunity to go somewhere else, but we just saw Kendall just kind of like make it seem that he really wanted to be back here, and this was the reason why, and it's KJ, and you just go through this whole thing all over again.
He told you exactly the truth and the way he felt that day.
Right, that day. That's exactly right. He didn't know.
That's all he can do, but that's all he can do, Phil.
Yeah, but you're signing a contract, making a commitment for a whole year. That's my point. When you make a commitment, you look another man in the eyes and you say what you're going to do. Then another girl wants to dance with you. You say, I'm here next year. Next year, come talk to me. Like that's all you want.
Okay, you go look at that contract, and what does it say? It says if somebody wants to hire me, they're going to pay this buyout. That's what he signed. He's not lying. It'll be a penalty, and that school will pay the buyout, and that's negotiated up front. So if you have to understand, he signed the contract, but there's clauses for him to leave if you pay the buyout.
Then don't say let's run it back. Just say I'm excited.
Okay.
Excited to be the coordinator still. Yeah, don't.
I think you do that for recruiting. That's just that's. So, but do I like it? No. Is it different? Yeah, it is. And it's gonna stay different, I think.
Is it the way it is? Yes. That's the thing. That's where I am with you. It's like you don't have to like it, but you do have to accept it.
It is the way it is. Yep.
Exactly the way that it is. TC in Dallas texted in, says he calls Scott Boras the baseball antichrist and thinks Jimmy Sexton is the same way. Their clients don't feel that way. Maybe the people that run the organizations might.
Really talented
the same
people.
Point.
Yep.
Well, they're really good at what they do. Really good. Boras, did you see Boras' interview with The Athletic? I forget who it was, talking about the situation with Carlos Correa, the whole ankle situation that the Giants wanted to shy away from, and then the Mets sign him to the contract. They have a press conference, and they got an opinion from the exact same doctor. It's like, why would you go to the same doctor?
You know he's going to say that, right?
You know exactly what he's going to say. So he signs a 6-year deal with the Twins, back with the team that he was with. And I'm thinking to myself, well, does this mean Scott Boras is taking some sort of a haircut? This guy is negotiating literally billions of dollars of contracts on an annual basis now. Boras has an Arkansas connection, too. You might know this, Clay. I saw him when I worked at the Travelers because he was a former Arkansas Traveler. The guy played professional baseball. He was a Traveler back in the 70s, and now he practically helps run the sport from the, from the agent's end.
Yeah, he's one of the dudes.
He sounds like a third baseman. What do he play? What position did Scott Boras? Second baseman? He sounds like he wasn't very fast. Sounds like he was a slow white boy.
I don't know what position he played, but it's probably.
It's like Bubba said, he must have not been that good because I don't remember his name.
It might have been left bench, or 13th in the batting order. I think he batted 13th for the Travelers that year. It's how he became an agent. He was really, really good at it, too.
He always had that bat ready, though. He's sitting in there. It's like, put me in, coach. I don't remember him, and I was around the Travelers. I don't know about the late 70s. It would probably be the 60s and early 70s.
I remember seeing a baseball card of him in a black and white photo of one of those old Travelers baseball cards. Heck, those things might have been sponsored by Wendy's back then. They probably were.
Speaking of that, I found online on eBay a Bubba Carpenter gold rookie card.
Oh, with the Rockies?
Yes.
Just
take a guess on what it would cost you to get, and that's a nice card. That's a special edition. Those gold ones. Phil, you probably know all that.
And I'd give you a nice, bright, shiny nickel for that card.
I was going to say $20.
It's more than that.
Oh, nice.
No kidding. That's because ever since he's been on the Razorback baseball broadcast, the demand for that baseball card has shot up.
You've lifted him up. $30.
$30 for a Bubba Carpenter
gold rookie card.
And he was like 31 when he was a major league rookie too. He's the crash. He's a real life Crash Davis.
It does not. I mean, he's clean shaven. It does not look like Bubba.
That's not Bubba Carter. That's Charles. Is who that is. Clean shaven Bubba is Charles Sidney. That's right. But I mean, all those years, you remember the team he played with, like Matt Jones. Could you imagine playing for an organization that allowed no facial hair whatsoever? I don't know if the Jags were like that or what.
I had a coach that I don't want no quarterbacks looking like Abe Lincoln. He didn't let us.
Like Abe Lincoln.
He said, "What is this? Is this spring?" He said, "I can't be coaching no quarterback looking like Abe Lincoln."
Well, hopefully there are no helmets that have a stovepipe hat look to it. That would not look very good. But the Yankees. I don't know if they still do this. They probably do. No facial hair, no facial hair at all. There are other organizations in the bigs that did that too. I think this always made me laugh. The Cincinnati Reds used to have a no earrings policy, and then they said, forget about it when they traded for Greg Vaughn because Vaughn had hit like 50 home runs with the Padres the year before, so they let him wear an earring. It was either that or a little bit of facial hair. So yeah, Bubba chose. He chose to play for the Yankees because he was an undrafted free agent. That was his choice to go play there because he grew up idolizing the Yankees. I think
and he could have left any number of times, and he's like, he said they paid him well. I don't know what minor league, what's the difference between, say, one minor league organization and another as far as pay? Would it be like he's on the 40-man roster, so he gets paid different?
Yeah, 40-man roster guys get paid more money, and then some organizations just put more money into paying their minor leaguers because they want the guys to, that are working their way up to play with players that have a sense of what that organization is supposed to play like. I think the Yankees back then were exactly like that. And the other aspect, too, and this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but you can be a minor league free agent after 6 years. And then you can negotiate your own AAA contract or whatever. Things are changing, though, because you remember the Major League Players Association has now subsumed all of the minor leaguers at the same time. It's the first time it's ever happened. So they are negotiating a contract that includes the minor league players. You may end up seeing, I think minor league ticket prices are going to rise. We've got two teams, within earshot of our listening audience, in Little Rock, the Travelers, and in Springdale, the Naturals. I think those ticket prices eventually are going to rise because I think the minor league organizations, the actual teams in those towns who don't employ the players, I think they're going to have to pony up a little bit of money for these guys to actually make more because it's going to be mandated by Major League Baseball. So I do see that change happening in the minors sometime soon. Hey, before we take a break, guess what time of the year it is? My mom's always doing this time of the year because she's a CPA. It's tax season. No reason to fear the IRS, folks. A1 Tax Service can help you get the largest tax refund. Plus, you get your tax refund advances up to $6,000 with no upfront fees. That's A1 Tax Service, saving you money over the national chains. They have the experience that you need with over 40 years combined. A1 Tax Service offers they have an office that's open year-round, same face every year. A1 Tax Service is ready to assist you in your tax needs. They have walk-ins welcome, or you can set an appointment by calling A1 Tax Service at 484-7686, or just stop by 6901 Dallas Street, G Suite on the corner of 70th and Dallas. That's A1 Tax Service, the professionals. Speaking of professionals, we are going to speak with Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, all about college baseball, next on Halftime.
Deep three on the way, and it's good. Outlet to Devo. It is over. Down goes Auburn. The #1 team in the country is defeated, and they are rushing the court at Bud Walton Arena. They are rushing the floor at Bud Walton Arena. Don't dance on that. Hey, don't do that. No.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
A new year means it's time for new work boots, work shoes, safety shoes, casual shoes.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab.
C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your #1 source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab.
C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
31 days away. If you want to talk about a well-timed conversation with somebody, Kendall Rogers is with us from D1 Baseball. Earlier today, they announced the creation of a brand new subscription service that is geared around SEC baseball, and they came out with their preseason top 25 today, have Arkansas ranked 8th. Great timing, Kendall. As always, you knocked it out of the park. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Well, I'm ready for baseball, man. I guess I'm always ready for baseball. I think people in Arkansas are usually ready for college baseball. So here we are,
sure,
31
absolutely.
days away. What do you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Go ahead.
No, you've got something to say, please.
No, I'm just saying it's crazy when you look at the Southeastern Conference and you look at our top 25, and it's kind of funny. I was having this conversation with an Arkansas fan earlier this morning, and you look at the Hogs and you're like, okay, number 8 in the country. I feel pretty good about where we are. And then you kind of take a step back and go, oh, we're the 6th SEC team in the rankings. So it's going to be an incredible year in that conference.
And 4th in the West, if you just go by those rankings, which just says so much about the strength of the league and the strength of the division.
Yeah.
But I think it also says a little bit about, where Arkansas is right now. There's no secret. You expect to see a very talented pitching staff. Now a veteran pitching staff, now that Hagen Smith is a year older, Brady Tygert's a year older, that McIntyre, emerged last year, and hoping to see Jackson Wiggins break out. The questions are all on the bat side of the ball, and then I think about the glove work because they were so darn good in the field last year, and it's nothing against the guys that are here. I just can't imagine anybody being, better up the middle than we saw last year. So, there's one side of the game that you feel really confident in, and another that's really very much more of a wait and see.
Yeah, I will say this about the pitching staff. I do think when you look at Jackson Wiggins, he's a guy that he has shown, flashes of brilliance. But at the end of the day, there is a question mark in the sense like, will we consistently see that from him? I think we will, but that is a little bit of a question mark. Hagen Smith, I agree with you, Phil. There's not much doubt in my mind that he's going to have a great year, especially when you look at just the hard-nosed way he kind of pitched in the last year in Stillwater and things like that. But, offensively and defensively, I think with this team, I think with Arkansas in general, I think you look at this program as one that always seems to play defense. It's like even if you are losing 3 or 4 guys, you're like, okay, Arkansas is just going to Arkansas. Like they're going to play really good defense. And I think, when you look at Hudson Polk behind the plate, he's a guy that is really good with his receiving and blocking skills, just an overall really solid player. But he's one of those guys that I think when he gets immersed in that program will play at a higher level than maybe what people expected. So I just think when you look at tradition with this program, they're just going to play really good defense. And I think offensively, Peyton Stovall, I feel like, last year, especially early on, you saw it and I saw it early on, kind of had a little bit of an ups and downs, but, he played really well down the stretch. And, getting Brady Slavens back was just absolutely massive just to get not only a power bat like that, in your lineup for another year, but just to get that experience back is huge. And, of course, Jared Wegner, we talk about transfers, whether junior college level or the 4-year level. Jared Wegner from, Creighton's a big-time power hitter. He's one of those guys that could go from, a decently known player, during his Creighton days to a guy that all of a sudden we look in the SEC, and he could turn into a Sonny DeShera type of power hitter. Like, he could be a guy that all of a sudden you kind of throw him in a program like this, and he hits 320 with, 18, 19 home runs. Like, he can be that kind of player. And then, Tavian Josenberger was a kid that, I saw, when he was in Kansas, and, he's a really talented overall player. He's a guy with a lot of tools, a lot of upside, and I think he's going to have a really good year too. So there's experience, there's transfers, but there's experience in this lineup.
The starting pitching, the way they figure out starting pitching is going to be fascinating because, you have a sense like Hagen Smith is going to start the first weekend. The same with Jackson Wiggins. Heck, I feel the same way about Brady Tigert, though. He closed most of the year last season. Then there are other guys, like a Zach Morris who emerged late in the season as a long reliever and in some real clutch situations. I've heard a lot about Hunter Hollan. I have yet to be able to watch him pitch more than a couple of innings in a fall game. Long left-hander out of San Jack. Cody Adcock, too, a right-hander that was at Ole Miss previously, then Crowder College.
Yep.
Any one of them that don't work out as a starter will get a chance to relieve. But, man, the competition for the starting rotation for this team, it's going to be competitive amongst themselves for, like, the first month of the regular season.
There's no doubt. And Brady Tigert would be the interesting one for me because I think with Dave Van Horn, it's a really delicate situation because if you look at Brady overall, most guys, they want to be starters, right? That kind of gives them a kind of a better ticket at the next level. But I think when you look at Brady Tigert, like, he was so good in that back end role that you're kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I just wonder if that's kind of what they feel like with him, especially when you have options. You talk about Cody Adcock, a guy that's going to get in the mid-90s. With his fastball. You look at, Hunter Hollan, a lefty that's going to get, into the 90s as well with really good overall stuff. They have options. They have multiple options. So I guess it's one of those, quote unquote, good problems to have. Like, Matt House has some tough decisions to make, but he's not void of 3 or 4, not only solid options, but really good options. So I actually feel like going into the season on Brady Tigert just, early in the spring, just looks like slam dunk, number 3 pitcher on this team. He can go 5 or 6 innings. Like, unless it's just slam dunk, I really like him in that back end role. I love his composure, his poise, his stuff back there. That breaking ball, to me, especially in the game, just really plays up. So I'm with you. I'm fascinated to see what they do. But I think I would be a little surprised to see Brady make that move to the starting rotation. But that's why I write, and that's why DVH coaches.
You mentioned Hudson Polk at catcher. Any Arkansas team that goes to Omaha has a catcher that is special. We've seen that with Grant Cook, with the Casey Opitz. And last year, Michael Turner emerged after really not getting a chance to catch very much at Kent State. Polk is an interesting guy. And Parker Rowland, too, a guy that started his career at Arkansas State. Polk was in Omaha last year as the backup for Oklahoma that finished runner-up. I just haven't had a chance to get my eyes on them enough. I just know how important that position is and how difficult it is to replace catchers that, gain trust of all the pitchers, and you have almost the same pitching staff that we just mentioned. So that's one place that I'm really focused on really throughout the entire season.
Yeah, he certainly seems to be more of a defender than he is an offensive guy. But you know what? If you're Arkansas with all these different offensive options, that doesn't bother me. Honestly, if I'm a coach and I have a catcher that can hit 250, 260 with a little bit of power, I'm totally happy with that as long as he's playing really good defense. And the thing I'll say about Polk is what I like about his background, I'm guessing this is what DVH kind of liked about him in the portal too, is the fact that he was with a team that played for a national championship. And, oh, by the way, he kind of learned a little bit under, Jimmy Crooks, who was certainly a standout catcher at Oklahoma. So, you kind of have that experience of being in Omaha, knowing what that big-time feeling is like, the kind of the level you have to play at to get there. And then number 2, he played behind a really, really good catcher, really, frankly, one of the top, 9 or 10 catchers in college baseball last year. So I like his background, and he certainly seems to have a really good defensive skill set. Again, if I'm a Hawks fan, what you're looking for is, 250 to 270, 8, 10, 12 home runs, and play really good defense. If you get that, I think you're happy.
I think you're looking for the same thing at shortstop too, and somebody that can, field the ball on a consistent level. When we're talking about, guys, scouting reports, what you think about them, their numbers, and all of that, where they played before. How much of how you project Arkansas looking forward has to do with trust of the coaching staff and knowledge of the coaching staff, and how good Dave has been putting teams together, and how good of a pitching coach Matt Hobbs is, and Nate Thompson. Yeah. How much of because so often it's difficult to project how a team is going to perform. You just trust the coaches and their track record, and you got a lot to go by with these three coaches.
No, you're right, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with catcher earlier. It's like it just seems like no matter who they lose, they play really well behind the plate, or they find a piece. Like last year, Michael Turner comes in from Kent. Granted, he was already a really good player, but I mean, comes in for Kent. They don't skip a beat. If anything, they probably get a little bit more offensive at that position. And then you look at Arkansas historically at the middle. That coaching staff just does a great job. And I think, the big thing for me when I look at the Hawks historically, especially over the last decade, they place a premium on defense. And in modern college baseball, if you can play good defense, your pitching's above average, you've got a chance to win a lot of baseball games. And most importantly for a program like Arkansas, is you have a chance to win a national championship. So I'm with you. There is an element, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, there is an element of in our picking and ranking that looks at it as like the history of a coaching staff. For instance, Texas Tech has a lot of question marks. They have more question marks than probably any of these perennial powers. And yet they're still ranked because, like, Tim Tadlock always has them ready. I kind of look at Arkansas the same way, and they're not necessarily the same program, but I look at them the same way as I did with Florida State under Mike Martin. If you remember, Phil, I mean, this is a program that, like, they could lose half their team, and, like, you could pencil them in the top 10. Like, they were going to be in that top 10, top 15 every single year, no matter who they lose. And I think Arkansas is kind of that program now. I just hope Arkansas is not that program that, like, Florida State, where they're always top 10 and 15, we don't win a national championship. Arkansas will win a national championship. But that is a good comp in terms of just the consistency of the program.
So LSU, as you guys write, are a clear-cut number one heading into Jay Johnson's second season. He's an interesting head coach. He's a little different than what I've seen in the SEC previously. But obviously it worked at Arizona, and they had some moments last year. Why LSU a clear-cut number one?
I think we look at LSU overall. I mean, I think when you look at these guys offensively, we talk so much about, Tommy White and Dylan Cruz, but I think when you look at some of these other pieces they have back, like getting a veteran Jordan Thompson back, like getting Trey Morgan back. I mean, if you remember, you've seen Trey Morgan the last couple of years, he's a really good hitter. He's not going to hit him for a ton of power, but he's a really good hitter. But where he saves them is defensively. Like, man, he is a master magician in terms of picking the ball out of the dirt. I love kind of having that guy over at first base in such an important position. I think when you look at LSU from a pitching standpoint, I'm trying to find a weakness with this pitching staff. I think when you look at Paul Skeens on the front end, granted there will be a transition for Paul going from Air Force to LSU, but you're talking about a guy who's literally sitting 98 to 102 this fastball in the fall. Changeup is up to 94, and the slider is in the upper 80s. You talk about a guy like that, Grant Taylor. Had spin rates over 3,000 the day I saw LSU in the fall. Ty Floyd's taking a big step forward. And then you get Thatcher Hurd and Christian Little from UCLA and Vanderbilt, respectively. I mean, that's an incredibly, incredibly deep pitching staff. Where I think the question mark with LSU is how do they handle the expectations? That will be difficult.
You're going to have to be at Baum April 14th through April 16th. I can't imagine another series. Maybe Ole Miss, Mississippi State, because those are the last two national champions. But, man, I mean, Arkansas, Tennessee, the fans are ready for it. And it's going to be one of the biggest series of the entire year in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be fantastic. It's kind of funny the SEC accidentally left that off the schedule. What's funny is when I tweeted that out, the SEC office is like, oh, wait, they have to play. And so it's just funny how that kind of accidentally went down. But, as intense as that series will be, I think it's going to be a little more, tame with the coaches than you would think. I think if you're Tony Vitello and you look back at, just the kind of, I wouldn't say outrage is the right word, but just kind of the venom that kind of created when that all went down a couple of years ago, this is a guy that's a former Arkansas assistant. So, I think he's going to come in there, Fayetteville. I think he's going to kind of pass the olive branch, not necessarily the DVH, but I think he's going to pass the olive branch to the fan base to try to kind of take some of the pressure and some of the heat off his team. So, man, I can't wait. I mean, you talk about that series. I mean, you're talking about Tennessee, LSU. Unfortunately, it's opening weekend in Major League Baseball, but, like, the number of just fantastic series this year is insane. I mean, you think about LSU. I was talking to Jay Johnson about this at the coaching convention. You know, LSU opens conference play at A&M. I mean, a top 5 team. So it's going to be fascinating to see how things unfold in the SEC this year.
People that make the rules in college baseball, I think, are trying to move the game along a little bit. They've changed the idea of celebrating home runs. Everybody's got to stay in the dugout now. I love it. And the pitch clock. They're going to adhere to the pitch clock, finally. I'm not saying the days of 4-hour games are over because it's still college baseball. But they're going to move it along a little more. The question I have for you, though, Kendall, is there is no sport between college and professional that is as close to being identical as baseball is. So with the rules implemented in the majors this next year, how soon before we see the same rules in college baseball? No shift, infielders have to be on the dirt, 2 pickoff moves to the base, that kind of stuff. Are we going to see this sometime soon? And do you think automatic ball strike at some point?
Yeah, I mean, we're a long way away from the automatic stuff. I mean, Major League Baseball is not even completely to that yet. But, you know, I think if the shift rules, you know, are popular at the Major League level, I could see that moving down to or permeating down to the collegiate level. I think what's going to be really interesting is if college eventually goes to like a universal extra inning rule that Major League Baseball has, because they've already implemented to where conferences have the ability and coaches have the ability to actually do that this year. Like coaches could actually be at home plate and go, hey, we're going to adhere to the new extra inning rule and actually do that. So that's the other one I really wonder if they end up doing in the future in college baseball. You know, the other thing too is pitch comm technology. There's a lot of professional teams out there. You know, Vanderbilt used it last year they use the wristbands, but, you know, the pitch comm technology where it kind of buzzes in your hat. They use it in the major leagues a lot now. I think that's something else that's going to come to college baseball and be a lot more rampant than it already is. I've talked to, 5 or 6 power conference coaches that have already started to look into pitch comm. So there are going to be a lot of moving parts in college baseball. And you know, you mentioned the pitch count. The biggest thing for me is, like, let's be consistent about this. You know, I remember a couple of years ago, you know, when Kumar Rocker was called for a pitch clock violation in Omaha, but like 3 or 4 times earlier in the World Series that year, like Deion didn't enforce the rule at all. So for me, like I like being a little bit more aggressive on the pitch clock rules, but let's like actually enforce it. Let's be consistent in the enforcement of that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the football targeting penalty, so to speak. Like, you know, the rule of law makes sense, but like let's be consistent on how it's enforced. And I think that's kind of what they're looking for here in college baseball with the pitch clock rules.
Kendall, before we let you go, and if you can fit it in like 30 seconds, SEC Extra. Sure. Tell us about the new subscription service at D1 Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us is the SEC is the largest and most, you know, kind of rabid fan base in college baseball, especially Arkansas fans. The biggest thing we wanted to do is go, hey, we're not going to change anything that we're doing right now. We're still covering the SEC a lot, but what we want to do, we're going to go hire 2 full-time people, and we're just going to quadruple the amount of SEC coverage that we have without putting it straight on D1 Baseball's front page. So if you want just an outrageous amount of SEC content throughout the baseball season, just head on over and get a D1 Baseball SEC Extra subscription. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hired 2 pros, Mark Ethers, who used to run SC Baseball, is kind of helping run point on that. So I'm excited, to say the least.
You guys are the best. Appreciate you, Kendall. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Matt.
Season.
Thanks, Kendall.
You got it. That is Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball. That is definitely, they and Baseball America cover the sport better than anybody else. Hey, great place to watch any Razorback game. If it's a baseball, if it's a basketball game, football, anything. Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Anytime the Razorbacks are on TV. Half-price apps and half-price taps during every televised event. They got TVs all around the restaurant, so you'll never miss a pitch. You'll never miss a bucket. You'll never miss a tackle. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Enjoy Razorback sports and enjoy yourself with half-price apps and beers all throughout the game. Joe's Grilling Cantina at 3400 South 74th in Fort Smith. They're right across from Harps, open Tuesday through Saturday. joesportsmith.com and the Waiter app to put it in order. We're going to be right back on halftime. Stay with us.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
While most of us are familiar with the opioid epidemic, we forget about the threat we faced for decades: methamphetamine. Meth is our biggest drug threat, and the number of people dying each year continues to grow. It's destroying our communities. You know, you've seen it. It might not have been your kid or your parent, but it was someone you know. To find ways to help, go to meovermeth.org. Choose your community. Choose your family. Choose yourself. I choose me over meth.
This message is sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and the Me Over Meth grant.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all. They do it from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Make today more interesting with Betley's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betley, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betley Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betley.com. With Betley, every game matters.
Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Van Alma Tire Center is always right around the corner from you with all the major brand tires for you to choose from. Bridgestone, Firestone, Cooper, and more. Turn into Van Alma Tire Center for all your tire needs, alignments, oil changes, brakes, and more. With service you can depend on. Van Alma Tire Center is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle and tire needs. Right around the corner at 6805 Alma Highway, 5 miles east of Van Buren and 2 miles west of Alma.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, guys, here's an episode of how times have changed in our world of sports. So the Super Bowl is on February 12th this year, right? We're a little less than a month away. The NFL Combine begins at the end of February. The draft is April 28th. All right, so I remember having a birthday party on a Super Bowl night when the Steelers beat the Cowboys the second time. That was my second birthday, January 14th. The NFL draft in 1952, the entire draft was today, January 17th, 1952. And to give you an idea also of how things have changed, the number one overall pick in 1952 was a quarterback from Vanderbilt, Bill Wade, one of 9 first-round picks in Vandy history. Oh, how times have changed.
Was Jay Cutler? I wonder if he was a first-round pick. I thought
he was.
Okay, Cutler was a man. You talk about people coming through Vanderbilt that could play. Man, that dude had a rifle for an arm.
Chris Williams was the last Vanderbilt football player to be drafted in the first round. Chicago got him in 2009. But it just, I mean, I remember talking about this a couple of years ago that the NFL draft is its own year-round industry now. I mean, that's one of the things that helped make ESPN what they are, is that they help turn the draft into a spectacle and to a 365-day-a-year news cycle.
And the whole network, the NFL network, too, like a whole network spawned because of ESPN and all the coverage they were doing. They couldn't get enough.
Phil, in 1978, I went to Tulsa to work at the paper there. And then in the spring of 79, about this time of year, I was told to go to United Scouting Services. It was out in suburbia Tulsa, and they had about 20 offices and conference rooms, and they did the scouting for the whole NFL.
Yes,
NFL's teams did not have. They might have a scout that they might send to check out somebody, right before the draft, but all the teams got the same report, and these guys were all, the top-end people, and the guy's name was Harry Buffington that ran it, and I could go out there and I could write draft stories. I could not quote him, because the NFL teams are paying, for that information. There might have been 1 or 2 teams that didn't subscribe.
Well, the Steelers had a scout named Bill Nunn who was legendary. He's one of the reasons that they were the team of the 70s, and he just was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I mean, they were one of the first to employ their own scouts, and the drafts in the 70s, I think, show one reason why he wanted to do it. Matt, what's it like for a football player now who's trying to get ready for the NFL Combine? Middle of January, what are you doing?
Well, it's definitely its own entity. It's like training for a decathlon. It's just another way you can list these players and group them in different groups, because you see the tape and you see what you do. So I went to New Jersey Speed School and trained with Martin Rooney, and there was about 12 of us there, 16 of us or so. All agency and all that stuff, and you work on your bench press, your lateral movement, you pull-ups, push-ups, core work, working on your start. I mean, it's a lot of tracks that it's a lot of just you're just getting in shape to go put on like a decathlon type of meet, because you're asked to do about 5 different things, and it's all specific to your skill set. If you're a receiver, you got to do certain things. If you're a lineman, you kind of got to test well in certain things, and it's just another way to compete. And some people take it a little more serious than others. If you're a first-round pick, some guys just don't really go through it. But so when you're there at the Combine, Phil, you don't sleep, man. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, 4 days in a row, and then they kick you out because it's about 13 days, and they're just bringing another group in with another group in. and you're just herded around like cattle. I mean, you go to the hospital, and anything you had an injury on, they do your MRI, X-ray. They look at it. They want to know every single little thing. So that being said, it has changed drastically to what it used to be to what it is now. I mean, it's a lot of money involved, and if they're going to take you in the first round, that's guaranteed money. Now it's about the first 3 rounds they kind of guarantee it. So that's 90, 100 guys that they're guaranteed over $1 million to. So they want to know. They want to know. We just talked about Kendall Briles going somewhere else. When they're paying that much money, they're going to do their research, and they want to know about you.
Had you ever had your hand measured before you went there?
Yeah. I think at a combine in college or so, they might have did that for the quarterbacks or something.
Well, there's so much.
That's a thing that
they freak out over something like.
Yeah, it's almost hand measuring season, isn't it?
It's almost how they should test your grip, Clay. They should test how strong your forearm. Yeah, you should test how strong your forearm is, not how big your hand is.
Yeah, they need those old machines that you used to see at the fair. You squeeze the.
So we had a test in Cincinnati. We had to do the receivers. You grab those grips and you hold them, and you gotta. I mean, there's people that go for 10 minutes at doing that stuff, man. Talk about your forearms to be sore for a week afterwards.
The NFL teams freaked out with Anthony Lucas because his toes point different directions.
Dude, Anthony Lucas was so smooth. The only thing that was his knee kind of gave out on him. But talk about a route runner, man. He's one of the best route runners in the history of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Well, with hand measuring season upon us, we just know for a fact that there's just certain things they say about gentlemen with large hands. What? Big gloves. That's what I meant. We're going to wrap halftime up after a quick break.
You know where you're going.
Here she comes, there she comes, all the way, all the way, because you can't afford the ticket. That comes up with Dixie Dead. But don't lean on me, man, because you ain't got time to check it.
When you're looking for your next vehicle, stop in and see us at Randall Ford in Fort Smith. You know, from Fords, Lincolns, new, pre-owned, Chevrolets, Kias, Nissan, whatever you can think of, chances are Randall Ford will have them in stock. Shop us online, check out our inventory. It's right there. We're transparent at Randall Ford. We don't want to hide anything from you. And if you have questions about these vehicles, you can either call us here at Randall or simply come by and see us. We're here to make sure that we take care of you and treat you like family the first time. You know, this dealership is proudly letting everyone know, as we always do, 4th oldest Ford dealership in America. We've been here for almost 115 years and counting. So stop by and see us today. When you're in the market for your next quality check pre-owned or a new vehicle, we want your business. We want to earn your business. Just give us a chance to treat you right at Randall Ford in Fort Smith.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
Call Ted McAvoy in Van Buren or Chris Dooley in Fort Smith.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey & Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey & Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit KevinHickeyLaw.com or give them a call today to schedule your consultation. Hickey & Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company has 2 locations, 1316 South Zero and 200 South Zero Street in Fort Smith, serving the glass and glazing needs of Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma, commercial and residential. Tub and shower enclosures, mirrors, glass table, and countertops cut to custom size are just a few services offered by Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company. Arkansas Glass and Mirror stocks laminate glass, plexiglass, Lexan, window glass, and mirror and plate glass. For more information, call 646-4300. That's 646-4300.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
I'm heartbroken and I'm feeling low down. I'm sick and tired of the life I live around this old town. And I'm getting tired of crying over you. So honey, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm taking this old train for a long ride. I'm gonna stay a long time, losing an old love, starting a new life. I'm taking this old train, leaving tonight.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Razorback women's basketball is back in the writers' poll, 22nd in the writers' poll that came out earlier today. Oh, no, pardon me, that's the coaches' poll. I got my polls mixed up. They moved up 1 spot to 22nd. Sailor Poffenbarger has been named the SEC Freshman of the Week again. That's 5 times, I think in 9 weeks. So, I don't know, it's the middle of January. I can't tell him to etch her name on the trophy just yet, but you might want to start.
Well, LSU's got a player that's won it 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, it's not like
That's right.
It's a done deal. But you and I and Matt will vote for her.
If I only got a vote, but I don't.
I know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
too
get
bad.
a vote either.
Good stuff today, guys. This was a fun Tuesday.
A lot of fun.
This was a really good Tuesday. If you missed anything on Halftime, the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast will be coming out momentarily, and Ruskin and Zach have you covered for the next few hours from 2 until 7. And tomorrow's a big day. Arkansas, Mizzou basketball late at night, 8 o'clock. Gotta get an SEC win. Gotta get an SEC win. And, hey, not too much negativity as far as the basketball team is concerned today, though. I did see a tweet from Danielle Musselman that insinuates that there have been some pretty negative tweets and social media posts directed at some of the players, which I guess just makes it another year of college sports here.
Welcome to 2023.
That's exactly right. All right, guys, great stuff today, and we appreciate your calls and your texts. Thanks again to Chuck Barrett for joining us as usual on these Tuesdays, and to Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball. Clay, we'll see you Thursday. Appreciate you. Maddie, Matt, have a great rest of the day. And to our listeners as well, hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. For Matt Jones, for Matt Travis, and for Clay Henry, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.